Okay.
Well, you know what?
I didn't know if you wanted him here for the
No.
show before the show
Let's
or
keep
not.
him on for the show before the show.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
let's
a
do
good,
it.
Joe, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Good idea.
Good idea, Joe.
I'm gonna put his camera on then too.
Yeah, your camera will be on, so don't pick your nose. We're not on yet.
Yeah.
But-
So
But we're
beware
live
of,
on the show before the show.
what kind of weird things
yeah, we're
Yeah.
just
public may get to
we're
see.
still talking. I mean, to have you talk.
It's the show before the show.
What? Okay, so Joe, are we on?
We are live.
Okay,
We are live.
We are live.
We are live.
I gotta update this. Something's not working again.
Free for
Okay,
all.
Judge. We got Judge Thornhill with us today as people start to come in. Hey, Ben, good morning. We do this to work out all technical kinks, let people know we're coming up. We usually start around 8 o'clock. So
Appreciate that.
that's where we kind of kick in with stuff.
That happens in the courtroom a little bit too. Work out some technical
Oh,
things.
you know,
I bet that's
A
true.
number of times we've tried to go on the record
Hey.
and record something that everybody's been waiting for me to strike the gavel on, and the clerk tells me I can't hear anybody.
oh my
That
God.
happens.
Hey, Joe, by the way, I can't see us, man. I see 2 empty chairs and it won't let me.
Yeah, I think it's your computer because we're live
Should
with.
refresh.
I tried to refresh
Did you?
once and it didn't. I'm doing it a second time. Let's see.
It should pop right in. There you go.
There it is. It
There
worked
you
that
go.
time. Oh, yeah, we had the donuts and Thornhill shirt. We'll put that down in there.
Now, I want you to know that is the thing I asked for my birthday, which is coming up next week.
When's your birthday?
Is
May what?
20th.
All right. May
The
20th.
Devil's Food Double Chocolate Entenmann's.
What do you need, buddy?
I haven't put his microphone closer to his mouth. He can't hear me.
Can you bring the mic closer to you?
Sure.
Like, and you don't want to lean down to it. And
See if you
Do I
can
need to
lift it
turn
up.
it like this, or
oh,
there
no.
you go. Right
Well,
there.
Perfect.
well,
right there.
you tell me? I mean, just
And-
tell me where you
okay,
want it.
and then
I'm-
That was
bring
better.
it closer to you. I like that height. Closer to you, and then down a little. Perfect. Because
Beautiful.
we like to see you. I mean, if anybody goes through the trouble to make their tie look that good,
well,
Right.
I tightened it in the
Um,
before
Uh-huh.
I came in. It was a little.
do you pick out your own clothes or does your wife?
I picked these out. I've thrifted everything I have on except maybe the tie. So I mean, even the shoes.
Nice.
So
Hey, are you?
I like the socks.
Are you
Thank you.
familiar with? Oh yeah.
Do you see the socks?
um,
The socks.
you ever get out to Defiance?
of course I do. Of course I do.
Yeah, they've got advertisers with their show Winties here in the Chesterfield Valley.
Mhm.
They are super place. You got to get over there and check it out sometime. Literally about a minute drive from here,
Mhm.
right through Spirit Airport. Anyway, they just bought Roadhouse in Defiance.
Oh, they
Winties
did?
Roadhouse. So they bought that from the Hoffmans,
Mhm.
and they open Friends and Family. Your friend Saturday, and then first day Sunday. And I mean that's being promoted all
Yeah.
over St. Louis County.
That's gonna be
I love
great.
the Roadhouse.
Wait till
if
you
I
see what
told
they've done with
you
the place.
This is going back 4 years. I was down looking for signs, cold calling people because
Mhm.
I don't really know that many people in Defiance. So I was cold calling them in January of 2020
Mhm.
before the whole thing happened, so people still answered their door.
That's right.
In
That's right.
January. And I had 4 of my kids with me that really did not want to go cold calling people. They were riding in the van and we went to the Roadhouse I said, the one thing I had is if you just be patient, we'll go have appetizers at the Roadhouse. And
Love
so
it.
we had French fries and chicken wings. And it was a great reward for them. They said, totally worth it, Dad, getting Roadhouse food at the end of political activity.
Love it. Love it. And it'll be even better starting this weekend with Wendy's now owning it. So you have
Well,
to bring
yeah,
it
we'll be
back.
out there Saturday.
It is a tremendous location for people to stop.
Yeah.
And so it's nothing but a great decision for them to be there. People
That's
driving up
true.
and down, and everybody says, why don't we just stop for an hour? And they got the great patio there. No,
Yeah,
I used to kind of
They've
have a
actually
sign
cleaned
there.
up the place too.
Now, I used to have a sign there, sort of, because now, there's tragic things that happen.
yeah, no,
Yes.
2 kids died in the house
That's
there.
right.
Yes.
Those folks were
Not all that long
Hill-
ago.
They were Thornhill fans. Their names were Jen and Vernon, and she worked at the Roadhouse. And I actually
I
had
remember
a
that.
sign at the Roadhouse in 2006. But they
Really?
paved the lot or something, or put rock down. There
Yeah.
really wasn't anywhere you could drive a pole in anymore. And so when I went in there in 2010 to try to confirm that I would be, or like maybe it was 2020. I went back. It's 2010. I guess I had the sign. I went back to try to confirm. There just was no place to put it. But Jen worked there then.
Yeah.
And she said, well, dude, you can just put it right across the culvert. I mean, and so it's just such a sad thing.
Well, and Ben, who is Marla Khan, is the one that owns it, but Ben is her husband, and he said you could put a sign out there.
Love that.
He just said that.
I love
on
that.
the chat line.
But you got to go out and see them.
You got to go out. And
listen,
see
I'll go out and see him and order chicken wings to go if I don't stay.
It's funny you say chicken wings because that's what they're known for.
My son probably ate 40. Okay, just keep ordering, Dad. Now he's older now. He could probably even he goes to Buffalo Wild Wings now with his friends.
Yeah.
And they have this sort of all-you-can-eat promotion every once in a while. And one night he ate over 100. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
He won whatever bet there was between the friends as to who could stuff the most chicken wings in.
That's funny. That's good.
He's
how
also
old
very
is he
good
now?
at making them. He's going to be 20 years old in September. He is very good at making chicken wings. And there's been some rather expensive teenage parties where we went to Costco and bought just, the gigantic bags, which are not inexpensive. Okay. When you're buying 50 and 60 wings at a time.
Very expensive.
Bought 5 of them. Okay. And then he made 5 different kinds of wings and had all of his friends come over, and they shotgunned Arnold Palmer's, which means they keyed him, and we're drinking Arnold Palmer's and seeing who could make the hottest chicken wing. And a couple of his friends were crying. I mean, they literally had tears running down their face. Because they'd made them so hot. And it was just a humorous night of boys just literally enjoying the kind of things that only boys can enjoy, torturing themselves with food.
Love it. Teenage boys are a different breed, and they're very fun. Very fun.
Let's see here.
I do actually have a brand new sign. So tell your friend I have a brand
new
sign out in the car that says Judge Thornhill 2024. I just picked them up. The ink may not even be dry yet.
That would be
I can take that down there and feature that at the Roadhouse and get it there over the weekend.
That would be great.
Would be a tremendous blessing for me.
That's
be
great.
Associated with hot wings. Hot wings in Thornhill. I mean, come on. If that isn't great if that isn't just a great association.
All right. Judge Thornhill, do your fans know that you're on the show this morning?
Some of them do. Some of them do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if we need to, Joe can come in and take a picture of you and send it to your crack social media team.
That's right.
They're pretty good, my social media team.
Social media team.
24, 22. And then I've got one that's actually only 16. That's part of my social media team.
That's the best.
She may have done as many posts as the 22-year-old almost now.
Well, the best crew to have is your own children. For sure.
She's the one, Phoebe, the 16-year-old, rode around with me the most. She rode around with me the most with signs because we homeschool the kids. And in the afternoon, I would just say, listen, this is political activity 101, sister.
That's right. That's history.
We're going out and you're going to see what it's really about.
I love it.
People have a mistaken conception, I think, of what it is to be a political candidate and kind of the humiliating kind of things you've got to do. Who thought when you're a judge, you're supposed to go out and put up 200 signs beating farm poles in.
Right.
I mean, that's just not what people anticipate is the job or is the activity.
And you got to do it, though.
They think it's going out to some, I don't know, prestigious place with a bow tie on and everybody thinking you're awesome and making a big speech. But it really is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's doing manual jobs, meeting regular people, and being encouraged that way.
That's right.
Almost getting ready. It's show before the show, guys. Judge Thornhill with us. We'll be talking to him in just a moment. Won't want to miss that.
I love your shamrock.
Thank you.
I love it.
Now, you know that the shamrock is a symbol that I chose when someone recommended I have a symbol because I knew that the Lord had called me to run for judge. And if you know what the shamrock represented for Patrick, it it represented the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And
Boom. There you go. I was doing it with you. I went,
Uh-huh.
Heather and my wife and I, we both agreed if the Lord wanted me to win this, we'd just put his picture on everything we did.
There you
And
go.
So he's
And
still
you
on.
did.
He is still on essentially everything we do.
That's great. That's great.
are you a golf fan at all?
Yes.
Did you see Scotty Scheffler this morning? All that
Well,
craziness?
Well, I didn't see it. I read some things that were,
Oh
coming
my
across
gosh.
the feed.
Tiger just went and picked him up from jail.
Mhm.
Oh my God. The whole thing is just crazy.
You can't make this up.
Love Scotty. Well, it's
He's number one in the world. I mean, how can you not? I mean, can't you just get it under control when you're number one
Yeah.
in the world?
no,
I
he was literally trying. Okay. Quick story for Lizzie. He was trying to get into the golf course this morning. A pedestrian had already died in a traffic accident.
And this
Traffic
is all
was
happening
backed
this
up.
morning.
He has a car that's marked
Yeah.
Eric Johnson, Judge Thornhill.
Thornhill's my name.
Nice. I see the signs all over the place.
Well, that was the point. So I
Yeah,
guess I
you see it.
guess I achieved what I set out to
You
achieve.
did.
Eric
They're
Johnson.
everywhere.
That is it.
They're
You know
everywhere.
what? We got Eric. Once Eric gets, we can go ahead and start the show, Joe. And then we'll tell the Scotty
Eric,
Scheffler
I
story.
probably, depending on your size, I might have a Thornhill shirt out there for you to
Oh yeah.
to wear. As
Really?
your-
TRL,
your-
baby.
You give one to Eric.
And
I mean, a
I'll cut the
good-looking man
sleeves
with my
off it and
shirt
wear it on
is-
stage.
is
Yeah, that's right. He'll
a
wear it
win.
on stage.
It's a
You-
win.
Hey, Projo, is
He's a
Eric sitting
star.
properly on his crack?
Yeah.
Is he sitting on the crack? He's
he's
the
on the
bassist
crack.
for
Always
Platinum
sitting
Rock
properly
Legends.
on
And if
my
you give him a shirt, he'll wear it on stage.
I'd love that.
Uh-huh.
I'd love that. You
That's
tell me
right.
what size you need, bass player, and I'll have it for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you consider your greatest hit?
My greatest
I'll
hit?
get you one,
your
Megan.
greatest hit that you love playing the most.
Wow, I've never been interviewed like this before. I would say my favorite would have to be Soundgarden.
Boy,
Yeah, any
something
Soundgarden.
really loud. is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Or Van Halen.
Wait
I
a minute. So you know Soundgarden, Judge
Of course
Thornhill?
I do.
Yes, well, look at him.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you I can name all the songs, but I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Playing on
That's
the radio.
okay. That's pretty
Quite a
badass.
bit.
That's pretty.
It's just fun to
badass.
play. It's just fun.
Now, I will tell you, my favorite songs probably are Icicle Works, Whisper to a Scream. We
Yeah.
are.
Oh, that's a great song.
Yeah,
It is
we're
a great
going-
Love that. Favorite
That's-
song of all time, probably.
Yeah.
Wait,
Uh,
Whisper to a Scream. Who sings that again?
Icicle Works.
Yeah.
Icicle.
Oh my
Works.
God.
Love George Michael. Love him. Okay?
Well, do we
my
have a
wife and I
surprise
may-
for you?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We may be married because we both mutually loved George.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Waiting for that day. Come on. Come
Yeah.
on. Just start crying right
Yeah.
now. I mean, I just emotional. Just love him.
Yeah.
Love George.
Well, yeah,
Cry
isn't it
when he-
weird?
It's the only thing that's a letdown for Christmas because I always think on Christmas that George Michael died on Christmas Day.
Did he really?
Yes, he
yeah, I don't
did.
know that. Wow.
And-
Okay.
and
Yep.
gosh, just start thinking about it, listening to Last Christmas and thinking about George.
We could do
Oh,
a
So-
Last Christmas has a whole different meaning. My
Yeah.
kids love that song.
Hey Joe, let's just start. Let's
Start
run
the
that.
show.
Let's run it, baby.
Just do it.
And hey now, welcome into the show, everybody. Welcome to cancelthisshow.com. I'm holding this out because I was showing Judge Thornhill, who's with us today, kind of what it looks like. But you really, there he goes. You get see that's what
I can
you
see
look
that.
like.
The
Yeah.
large screen was much clearer.
Yeah.
Canceltheshow.com. Vic Faust, this is great. What a Friday show we have.
Yeah,
Of course, you guys know these are our free for all Friday shows. Anything goes. We're let down. We're so damn serious throughout the week with news headlines, politics, cancel culture, education, and of course, interviews from all over the country, local, state, national. And Fridays, we get into everything. We have comedy, we have fun, we have arguments, we have conspiracy theory, we have paranormal sometimes, Judge. Both these two,
Yeah.
Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks, lived in the same haunted house in St. Charles County.
Did you
Okay.
not know that already?
At
Yeah.
the same time?
Yes.
Or-
No.
No, not at the same time. Well, I guess
No, we don't
that's-
know whether
Well, I
that's
guess you were
true.
destined to
That's
be on a
right.
show together if you found out you both lived in the same house at different times.
That's
They
exactly
did.
It's
Each other.
destiny
Isn't that crazy?
we
Yeah,
worked on the
yeah.
same show.
I was standing there when they figured it out at Wenty's of
That's
all
right,
places.
of
Go
course.
figure. Guys, we welcome in 8 to 10 Friday It is time to get things going Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website,
Thank you.
canceltheshow.com.
Joe.
Glad you guys are here. Hey, by the way, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we've got Kelly Manno from the Kelly Manno Show. And there's going to be some fireworks there because she is against the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, for what he allegedly said that was so bad for women in regards to being successful moms and homemakers. And I tried to have a conversation with her off air, guys.
It didn't go well, did it?
Well, it went all right.
No, it
She
didn't.
said she'll be nice.
I can't wait.
I know
told
it's
her-
going to be a fight.
I told
in the
her.
9
I
a.m.
told her I
hour.
disagree with her, and
Am
she
I going to
disagreed.
be in here when there's a fight going on? Do I?
Yeah.
We need a judge.
I need to bring
Yeah, that's
Pro Joe
right.
in here to protect me.
Well, you have all the
That's right.
prosecutors' phone numbers on your phone.
That's right. You might need one today.
We need a judge to oversee everything. That would
Yeah.
make sense.
Mhm.
Eric Johnson's here. Eric, good to see you, man.
Yeah, I knew that we were gonna be talking to the judge today, so I came in early for you.
Yeah, you did.
Flattered.
Because I don't do that
Flattered.
normally.
You came in for that.
You know that's
Thank
right. Because you have the most famous campaign signage in St. Charles County. You got
100%.
is that not true?
I love it.
I want. How much do you spend on
Uh-huh.
your signs? Are everywhere.
Well, the
all
signs-
over
a
St.
lot of the
Charles
signs are really old. I mean, I've had to do this. This is the 5th time I've had to run in a contested election. And so some of the signs are 20 years old. And if you get up close to them, you'll see just how much wear they really have on them. We update them by getting some stickers made and putting them on there. That's way cheaper than ordering brand new signs. And a lot of them, they go to a shed in Lincoln County and sit there until the next time I've got to break
Damn.
them out and
Yeah.
get the
I always want to go to an Irish pub every time I see him.
Me too.
You know?
Reminds me of
Which
St.
is good.
Patrick's Day. Well, Judge, if you could introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, what your position is, and what you're running for, and then we'll have some fun with you. We'll talk about campaigning. We'll talk about the job, maybe some of the behind the scenes issues. I had a chance to meet you and found it interesting. I teased you coming on in regards to you telling me one of the longest, weirdest cases you had were people just fighting over a box of trash.
box of junk, and a one-legged bird. I can tell you.
And a one-legged bird.
One-legged bird. Loved it. Dreams for a judge.
Yeah, well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well,
Let everybody
first of all,
know you are.
thanks so much for having me on. It really is a privilege to be in here with you guys this morning. And so thank you. And may God bless you for your kindness in inviting me. But my name is Matthew Thornhill. I am a lifetime resident of St. Charles. I was born in St. Charles and grew up in O'Fallon. Before it really was O'Fallon, I guess you'd say. It's been where my parents still live in the house I grew up in. It has now been annexed in to O'Fallon. We always kind of knew we were East O'Fallon, and now we really are, at least in terms of the home office. I'm married to a young lady named Heather. We've been married for 26 years, 27 years in 2 weeks, 27 years.
Nice.
We have 7 children together. 5 of them came the normal way, and 2 of them came by way of adoption from Haiti. Those 2 girls have been with us. We've had all 7 of them since 2013. And I've been a judge longer than some of my kids have been alive. I was a prosecutor for 13 years, assistant prosecutor for the county. Loved litigating. So I did a lot of jury trials as a prosecuting attorney. Went from being the traffic guy to the felony guy to the sex team, if you want to call it that, sex crimes, which are kind of the hardest cases to try because there's just a lot to deal with people who are victims in those situations and with juries and how they respond. And you got to strike the right balance and be persuasive. And while I was the sex crimes prosecutor, I received the biggest verdict that had ever happened in St. Charles County, which was 16 life sentences for a guy who had sexually abused 2 stepsons. He's still in prison today.
Good.
He is.
Well,
and so I went from being a prosecuting attorney for 13 years. I ran for judge in 2004 and lost, but eventually ran again in 2006 and won. And I've been an associate circuit judge, which the listeners may not be real up to date on how that all works, but there's 2 levels of judges in the state, or at least in the state court, that you would appear in. And if you went to court somewhere, there is the associate circuit level, which is considered to be a lower level and handles things that are considered to be less significant. Now, I'll pause there for a minute to say that it's been my sort of discovery, I guess, through the years that you can call a case less important, but it's important to the people that come.
Yes.
And in fact, no matter how the judicial people in the building may characterize it, it's probably the most important thing in their life that day. And it's important for the judge to treat it that way. And I think too often a judge can dismiss something that doesn't have a lot of financial value attached to it, or doesn't seem to have the kind of consequences other cases may have. But to those people, it's everything.
Yeah.
And it's very important for the judge to dial into that. I am running now for what's called circuit court, which is the higher level as between the two in the courthouse where you might visit. There's obviously other higher levels. I'm not really aspiring to those, the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court. Those are removed from your regular courthouse and in different locations. But this is the circuit court. It is the higher of the two. It's more of the leadership level in terms of how a courthouse is going to operate. And I believe that given that I've done this job since 2006, I'm in my 17th year, that I've reached the point where I've got the right perspective, the right experience, the right understanding of what's important to people in my community to be in the leadership team.
So, I mean, when you're running, you're campaigning, I'm assuming this consumes life. I mean,
it's all consuming. You never really get away from it, no matter how much you try to take a break and watch Premier League soccer, for example, on a Saturday morning. You start thinking about it and pick out a notepad and start writing, what are the next 5 things I need to be doing? Because when you really think about it, Vic, the political cycle is really short. We're already talking, we're sitting here today on the 17th of May, and it's less than 3 months until my signs will be down after an election and put in the shed. And there's less than 90 days till the election to inform people you're running, to make connections with them, to inspire them, if that's the right way to say it. And it's a very short cycle. And so because of that, things happen in quick succession, and you got to move from one phase right to the next one.
Yeah.
And as soon as you finish one thing, you're right away going, okay, what's next for me? Do I need to be doing something right now? Should I be calling somebody? If I have a night off, I tend to write thank you notes to people who have shown kindness to me. And there's a lot of them. So there's a lot of notes to write. And so you try to fill your time with things. You don't have a lot of downtime where your mind is not connected to it, even if your body's not, even when you're at home. And so it kind of has a certain mental exhaustion attached to it for that reason, because you just can't get away from it. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it.
Yeah.
You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it.
You know, what's so weird about just being in this situation is you're running for an office. You rely on people like us to vote for you. So a question that a numbnut like me might come up to you and say, so which way do you roll? Are you on the Trump side or are you on the Biden side? Because that's kind of how they figure their politics. And it's not a political thing that you're running for. But do you ever find that you're having conversations with people like, look, I'll vote for you, but are you conservative? And you know what? That's a legitimate damn question, to be honest with you.
It's really pretty rare. People tend to vote for someone they like. And if they meet you and they like you and they think you're relatable, they tend to say, you know what? I'm all for a guy that I can relate to, because so many politicians are plastic.
Have you ever had a conversation with, like, saying, what do you think of the judicial system in, let's say, New York or St. Louis, where they are destroying, in my opinion?
They mention that to me occasionally. And I would say this, that if you look at what is the justice system supposed to be? What is it supposed to be, Eric? Do you think what's happening in our national media right now, if you were a young person, you would be confused about what justice even is. And there's been, I think, an effort to redefine it and to say it's something other than what it is. But really, if you had to boil it down, justice is people getting the reasonable consequences for their actions.
Yes.
And that when people disagree about what the reasonable consequence is in a certain dispute, they bring it to an objective person to rule on that and to tell them this is the reasonable consequence. And it's objective because there's actually a law that governs it, or maybe rules of evidence or something like that. And when you say the reasonable consequence, it's not just for the people who are, let's just say, the defendants or the respondents or whatever in the lawsuit. There's reasonable consequences for plaintiffs that bring frivolous lawsuits and stupid cases that don't really have any merit to them.
Right.
And they get dismissed. And the judge just says, well, there's nothing here. The reasonable consequence is there's nothing here. I'm dismissing this thing. Or if you're in the middle of a trial and people make mistakes, let's just say, in how they present, they make decisions. There's something that happens in court sometimes, Eric, where there's certain types of evidence that the rules of evidence would say they're not really appropriate. If you made an objection, it would be sustained and you wouldn't get to talk about it. But somebody asks a question about something that they really shouldn't have asked about, and then suddenly we use the phrase, they opened the door. Okay. They opened the door. This was something that's actually going to be negative for them, but they just couldn't help themselves. So the reasonable consequence of their not thinking it through is that now something they didn't really want to talk about might be all you're going to talk about because they opened the door by making a decision. And so it's even minute by minute in the trial, there's reasonable consequences for the decisions people make. There's an ultimate reasonable consequence as the outcome of the lawsuit or the criminal prosecution or whatever. And when you see vast differences between how people are treated, when you see incredibly harsh penalties for people, let's just say, walking into the Capitol building, and then you see people looting and robbing in other parts of the country, and they literally get no consequence. They don't even do anything.
Well, what's going on with that? I mean, that is...
Well, I can't really comment on that other than to say it causes people to say there is no justice.
But
because there
reflects on you.
Predictable, reasonable consequence.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. We were talking about this on the show for the last year, 2 years.
We have done.
It's like this. It's like, we should look at you guys. We should be bored. We shouldn't even know your name. We should just go, oh, that sounds like a very reliable guy. I'm voting for him. Instead of putting the selective kind of activism judges, you create a crime. You're a suspect in a murder case. 24 hours later, you're roaming around St. Louis. People like me are like, what in the hell is that all about? Where are the judges at down there saying, no, sir, you're going to be in that cell until we figure out that you didn't kill your mom or whatever.
Eric, I can only tell you that I can't control what other people do.
No,
all I can do is give the reasonable consequences for what's been entrusted to me.
Right.
And I can promise you that when people come in front of me, ask anybody that comes in front of me and say, did he give the reasonable consequence, and was he consistent? Did he do it over and over and over again, so that people that make the same decisions get the same outcomes?
Is St. Charles County are we in a different reality than the over on the other side of the river?
I believe we are. And I say that
I think
because
so too. You can tell by their judgments. like
there's a mass exodus from certain parts of St. Louis County and city because of that very reason. And they want to come somewhere that there's a more predictable, secure life, that they can see where they're going.
I love that. That's the statement of the day right there.
Say that again. Predictable. Eric says this all the time.
Yeah.
We need to live in a place that is predictable and safe, and how you judge is, for a lack of a better word, is consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what we need, is safe, consistent place to live.
People need to know that you hear this all the time. There's phrases that you've heard that you say, you do the crime, you
do the time.
Do the time, right? That's reasonable consequence, isn't it?
Yes.
It's right there in front of us. We've heard it. We've all heard it. There's something that says you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
That's right. You want to bring a hack in to do your job at your house, whatever that may be. Some guy, one of the first cases I litigated probably years ago was people that wanted to have carpet laid. They wanted to have carpet laid, and they had bids for $10,000, $20,000 to lay carpet throughout their whole house. That a guy came in and told him he'd do it for $2,500.
Susan says the judges in St. Charles were wonderful.
Well, then I think
and the prosecutors are
interrupt
wonderful.
you.
And the prosecution teams are, I mean, we're lauded as being one of the best places to live because of our executives and our judicial system here.
Peter says, my girlfriend's from St. Chuck, and she says the people on the other side of the river are just different.
We really are the best.
No, I'm
We live
just
in God's country.
No,
call
I
it
think
all the
she's
time.
talking about St. Louis County.
Yeah.
Oh, that they're different? Yeah, they are.
oh, definitely. And it seems
I've often wondered if they really think differently than we do, or if they just are in such a mentality of not wanting to offend people, they just go with the flow.
Yeah, I bet
And
that's
no,
they
there
just
is
go
no,
with
it's worse than that. And my opinion, when Kim Gardner was there anyway, is she was running a ship where it was social justice was the thing that had to be first and foremost in everyone's mind. Now that speaks against the, my civics class, every civics class I had, there was a statue of someone that had a blindfold over their face.
That's right.
And a scale. And it was like, she didn't care who the heck was on trial. I'm going to measure this case by the
Objective standard.
Exactly.
The objective standard. It doesn't matter who the parties are, who the lawyers are, what they look like. You can have people that walk in the door that you would, as a person, be able to relate to much better.
Yeah.
They look like you do, I guess you'd say, and kind of have a background that you have, and they can be adverse to people who are exactly the opposite of you.
Yeah.
And that you don't relate to, and that kind of offend you in some way or another.
Well, it seems like you love this job. I mean, campaigning is difficult. I mean, are there joys in campaigning?
Sure there are.
Because
Sure there are.
I see the passion that you have. I sense it. I feel it. To do this job, to be
I love doing this job. I really believe God made me to do it, and that I have enjoyed every day of it. One of the things that comes up, and I won't divert on this, but I'm a believer in Jesus, and I'm a Sunday school teacher, and I went to after I already became a judge, many years ago, there was a men's group that would meet like before the sun even came up. And part of the men's group was that we did personality tests, and we're
showing nice pictures of you too.
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Appreciate that. There was and it wasn't the standard personality test where you have the 4 quadrants with, sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic. Okay. It was one that had bigger, wider range, and it had different, like there were 6 or 8 different categories.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I just filled the thing out, whatever it was, and sent it in. And each thing that came back had a symbol, each personality type. And the one that came back for me, it had no idea what I did for a job, was the scales of justice. And
that's awesome.
The reason that's important is because when you're principled in your own life, you have high principles, you don't mind telling people they're wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't say that you don't mind telling them they're wrong and ruling against them. Okay. But you don't have to do that in a condescending way that's ignorant or cruel. In fact, many times when you tell people they're losing, it's a way for them to win later. You tell them why you lost and explain it thoroughly to them. They go, well, I'm never going to write that in a contract again. I'm going to change. I'm going to change the way I do things. And now I will win in the future.
Yeah.
But you have to be to do the job in the way that it's meant to be done, you have to be a very black and white person,
Yes.
I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
You can't be super emotional and allow someone walks in and gets you all inflamed, and you move away from the objective standard because you're relating to them and you're feeling sorry for them. And then you say, well, really, I'm going to give them something that they don't deserve. What the law requires, or what the baseline requires, you have to be able to just like you said, have a blindfold on, step away from the players and say, what's the real problem here?
Yeah.
What's the dispute? What's the controversy? And what does the law require in that?
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
I interrupted you, and somebody said they wanted to hear the rest of the carpet story.
Well, the carpet story was that after the carpet was installed, the people thought it looked horrible. But they'd only paid the guy $2,500, and it looked like it. Okay. It looked like it was a $2,500 job when everybody else bid over $10,000. And at some point they sued him to come in and redo it, or to pay them to have someone else do it. But going back to what I said before, basically in the judgment I wrote, you get what you pay for. Okay. If you hire somebody who is clearly not very skilled to do a job, you asked for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reasonable consequence is not to turn around and tell that guy, you got to come back and pay me to have someone else do it. It's, you should have done a better job of discerning who was the qualified person to do the job to get the best result. And if you make that mistake, that's on you. People buy used cars all the time and they don't even drive them. If you can believe that. Or someone says, you can take this anywhere you want and have it inspected and take a look at it. And they don't take it. They go, oh, looks good to me. And they hand them the money. And then they take it somewhere and it fails the inspection. And then they want to come in and say the guy perpetrated fraud on me.
Right.
And you can't believe they could even ask that question because the other guy standing there and he says, I gave him an opportunity to do whatever he wanted. He chose not to do it. And therefore the reasonable consequence is you bought it. It's yours.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. What are you watching? I hate to shift gears, but it's a topic. I mean, we don't have a judge in front of us all the time. Are you watching into this Trump stuff up in New York?
I mean, I would say I monitor it a little bit, but I'm not exactly watching.
Right. And the only reason I would ask you is because I know that it would be probably not beneficial to you running for office, but are you seeing this as a fair thing going on up there? Or are you looking at it going, what the hell is going on here? We're talking about if
we're talking about reasonable consequences for your actions. Over and over again, people say that no one has been able to produce evidence that suggests
there's evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
should have never gotten to where it
should
is now.
never get if that's true. And I'm not going to comment on whether it is or it isn't. Okay. If that's true, there has to be a point where if a judge is objective and consistent, that he says there's nothing here. I'm just stopping this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, or never even letting it go. But even in some of Trump's other cases, and you can draw your own conclusions about why there has to be all these cases during the election year. But in some of the other cases, there's been, they told him you can't produce any evidence. You don't get to put your case on.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of court is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that you can, because it's not the reasonable consequence. It's not the rules. You're just going completely away from.
But here's the thing. What is the check and the balance for what's going on right now? You said it perfectly.
It's supposed to be a higher court.
But what is
supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a higher court. And
the sad thing is that you have to go through the toil and anguish of finishing with the current person assigned to it before you can appeal to the higher people.
It seems like we have found
it.
Eric, you already knew the answers to all.
No, I didn't, because I feel like we found the kink in the armor of what is going. This is a country of checks and balances. There's 4 cases against a guy running for the president of the United States right now, of which I keep thinking to myself, and this is me being kind of over the top. Why doesn't the state of Nebraska, a red state, bring a charge against Biden for something where he has to at least start responding to it?
Eric,
but no, see what I'm saying?
Because they're not going to do that. They're not going to waste their
time. You already
time.
know what the DOJ is doing.
Well, no, I understand, and that I'm trying to be ironic here, but it's like
trying to be ironic.
Do you think that I guess my question would be this: is what you see a kangaroo court a banana republic kind of thing? And you can say yes or no, or I don't want to answer.
Well, I mean, I can't really comment on what's happening, but I would say that if there is going to, you're right. I'm going to go back to something you started with, that you're right. The judiciary is one of the checks and balances. And when things are out of control in other branches of the government, the judiciary is supposed to step in and is supposed to do their job.
Yeah.
And what you're describing is a system in which the judiciary, at least as far as you're concerned, and I think a lot of Americans are concerned, is not doing its job.
Yeah.
Is not doing its job.
We're talking with Judge Matthew Thornhill from St. Charles County, kind of getting an idea of what it's like to do the job, kind of what you have to be, why you love it, how you go about when you're campaigning, what it's like to be in the courtroom. You've given, some examples. Could you tell the example of what we were leading with the box of trash and a one-legged bird? It gives
one-legged bird.
I mean,
there's probably, Vic, there's a really long intro into how you get that kind of a case. But let's just say that one of the things that I mentioned to you when we were talking before is that part of the joy of doing the lower level job is that you don't have a financial stake like you do at the higher level. When people are suing for millions of dollars, so much of what motivates people to file those kind of lawsuits is sort of like greed. Okay. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of money here. Where when you do the lower level job, what motivates people is principle so often. And principle, I want you to know, is way more interesting to listen to than greed is. And when you have to listen to cases involving principle, you just have, there's just great joy in it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's great, I want to say there's great entertainment, but there's, because it's fun to listen to why people are so polarized sometimes. And the reason I mention that case is it's sort of the ultimate case based on principle. There was an estate that believed, an estate of a deceased man that believed a woman had some items that belonged to the estate. They believed that she had them in her possession and she didn't have a right to them. There was a long build up to how she got them, and I won't go into that. But let's just say the items that were involved were a broken glider rocker. Okay, so you know how you get in these things. It wasn't even hanging on.
Do you remember how old the people were?
Well, the gal that was in possession of the stuff was probably in her mid 40s, and maybe the estate was represented by the daughter-in-law of the deceased man.
Okay,
and her children, and so the daughter-in-law was probably either late 40s or early 50s also, and the children testified, or one of them I think did. He was probably about 20 years old. But it was a broken glider rocker, an 8-year-old laptop, which back then an 8-year-old laptop was worth nothing, because it was so outdated, a gold chain, and a one-legged parakeet named Bubba, okay, who had lost.
This is turning into a country
Bubba.
song.
Yeah, Bubba. Yeah, you
A one-legged parakeet.
And the
Bubba.
estate wanted it back. They said, you have no right to those items. You have no right to those items, and we want them back. And the young lady said, no, I'm not giving them back. They were gifted to me by the deceased man.
She wanted Bubba really bad.
And so the estate sued her in what's called replevin, which replevin is an action that you file when someone has something unique and specific that is nostalgic. Maybe it's one of a kind item that can't be replaced by just anything. And, whether it's a piece of jewelry or something like that, people that steal jewelry and they want it back, they want the one that their grandmother owned, right? Or gave them. They don't want one that looks like it. They want the real one that somebody touched.
Yeah.
And so
I can see
replevin is an action to compel that to happen. And if you will not return it, there's also a joining, I guess you'd say, or a partner claim called conversion, which is if you will not return the item, the specific item, then the judge or the finder of fact or whatever, the jury in this case, has to decide what it's worth to make you pay for it.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, this case got filed and I looked at it and I just said, I'm loving this. I can't believe that this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And replevin is an associate circuit case, so it's not a small claim. And if you want something specific, it can't go to small claims. It has to go to associate circuit court, which is what I was doing. And then the lawyer for the young lady who had the items came in and requested a jury trial. And I just said, did I just die and go to heaven? I mean, I can't believe we're going to get to take this thing to a jury, and
Bubba, the one-legged parakeet.
They're going to get to decide this. And I just absolutely loved every second of it because it tells you what the system is for. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a conflict that can't be resolved. These people are never going to work it out because they're so polarized, and they need somewhere to bring the dispute for somebody to tell them how it's going to be
but
resolved.
It's important to them.
Yeah, because it's Bubba. It's Bubba, the one-legged bird.
And the thing ultimately that the justice system provides is something called closure, right? That you've got this dispute. You don't know what to do. You can't work it out together. There has to be an objective, reasonable person you can take it to that will resolve the dispute in a consistent way. When I say consistent, it'll be the same as if another person walked in with a box of junk and a one-legged bird. Okay, it would get the same outcome. And in this case, the jury was just dazzled that they were sitting here for this. They thought they could have been called for all kinds of other cases, and they loved it.
Who pays for the jury?
This whole cost of everything.
That's expensive.
Usually
for
when
Bubba.
you lose a jury trial, especially if you are the defendant, we assess the costs of the jury on top of whatever you pay.
So how do you split a bird up?
Well, eventually the jury said that the estate deserved the items returned.
Wow. So Bubba went back.
Bubba went back.
That's Indian giving, right?
With the other items that were in question.
Mhm.
And the funny thing about it was, I told you there really was no monetary value to any of the stuff. It would have been, in my opinion, looking at it, probably was less than $100 total.
Mhm.
They both
Wow.
brought lawyers in to argue it and to litigate it. And when the jury was like sitting there going, and I talked to them after the fact, obviously, and they said, the biggest question we've got is when we found that the replevin, that the bird and the items needed to go back, but with conversion, what is the value of these items? Heck, they hired a lawyer. They brought this guy in. They said that the items, if she wouldn't return them, were worth $5,000, because they thought that was the cost of hiring the lawyer to come in
Right.
and make her return them.
I want my bird.
I want my Bubba. I want Bubba.
How did Bubba feel about everything?
I don't know. I never got to meet him.
You never
although
met
I
Bubba?
did
Make it through
somewhere or another in my box of special memories at the chamber. I've got Bubba's picture that was
Sweet Bubba.
that was an exhibit at the trial.
Connie from the chat line says, this guy needs to write a book. I absolutely love him.
I agree.
Oh, he's
Talking
the
about
best.
you. Nice compliment. And of course, we invite everybody to jump in on the chat line. We're live, as you guys know, on X, on Facebook, on Cloud Hub, on Rumble, and YouTube. Of course, we go straight to the audio platforms as soon as the show ends. Your usual suspects like Apple, Spotify, Google, and everything else. Vic Faust here, Lizzie Sparks, Eric Johnson, Pro Joe running the boards, and of course, Judge Matthew Thornhill running again for a judgeship here in St. Charles County, explaining what it's like. From the chat line, was this in Mayberry?
Well,
St. Charles County can be close.
It has.
Mayberry.
It has.
Oh
at
my
moments. At moments, you'd swear you're living there.
Yeah.
That's
That's awesome. And people are asking on the chat line, do you know where Kim Gardner is?
Good question.
No, I do not.
You
know.
don't. You're
And
not
he's not
hiding her in
looking
your
for her.
shed, and you're
I
not
don't
hiding
think
him
I
in your
want to
shed?
know. I don't think I want to know. I think she and I are pretty ideologically opposite.
I think that's probably true.
I really think we are.
Eric, you
Yeah.
know what else is cool about this judge? He loves music and he loves Elvis.
Who doesn't?
Oh,
You like
Yeah.
Elvis?
Oh, love
That's
Elvis.
your thing?
My first memory in my whole life that I want to dial back and try to think of what my first memory is. It was when I was 4 years old, sitting in front of an old console stereo at my parents' house, waiting because you couldn't dial music up and you had to wait for it to come on the radio.
What year would this have been?
1972.
Okay, 72.
Waiting for Burning Love to come on the radio.
Oh my
God.
Sitting right next.
As a
Lord
4-year-old?
Almighty, I feel my temperature rising.
You know what?
Loved it at 4 years old.
I can relate to that story, but
I can't imagine coming in and seeing you as a judge.
mine was not Burning Love. It was Barracuda on Keishi. I was the same way. I would just sit around.
How about us leaving parallel lives, Eric? I'm loving that. You're sitting around listening for Heart, and Ann and Nancy Wilson, and I'm sitting here listening for the King. I mean,
That's awesome.
hilarious. Yeah.
That's so good.
I
So
think I'm
good.
really the only judge, maybe in the state or maybe even in the world, that has an Elvis jumpsuit in his closet in his chamber.
Did you
I
meet
know.
him?
Just in case.
Did you meet him? Because I think he did.
Never met Elvis. I've met people that met him. I've touched things that Elvis touched, but I've
That's
got
pretty
my
cool.
chamber has a whole. When you're an Elvis fan, Eric, I don't know.
Well-
it's the same way for being a Heart fan. But when people find out you're an Elvis fan, you're constantly getting things from the people. Okay,
Mhm.
that in love for
Yeah.
you and for Elvis.
True story.
If you, one of my favorite things is when people walk up to me and say, Thornhill, I was at Graceland
Yeah.
and I thought of you.
Yeah.
I love that because it almost always means that while they were there, they went into the gift shop and they didn't know who else to buy for. So they bought some, I don't know, thing that's got Elvis's picture on it for me, whether it's socks or whether it's a thing to hang in your car on your thing or a clock that the legs move. You know, I mean, there's all these things that
The legs
people
moving.
will, they'll come in and in love for me and in love for Elvis, they'll bring me stuff. And so
We should go into the jungle room and throw your logo on the
my
carpet.
chamber.
Oh,
is
that would be
filled-
awesome, wouldn't it?
It's green.
dreams. One of the greatest dreams of my whole life would be to sleep
Yeah.
in Elvis's bed overnight.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
Priscilla or Lisa or the daughter, that's out there, Riley, call me up and say, Thornhill, you can spend the night at Graceland.
How is
I
your
mean,
family
oh
with
my
this
gosh.
infatuation of Elvis?
My wife is mutually loving Elvis too. Okay. She doesn't have a jumpsuit or anything like that, but we've had Elvis parties together that include, trivia contests and name that tune and a lot of things. She has bought me probably the 3 or 4 best things I've got, in terms of that are most precious to me in terms of an Elvis memorabilia, if you want to call it that. I
got to ask, what is the as a musician, I'm fascinated by this discussion because I always, what is it that makes you such an Elvis fan? Is it the music? Is it the image? Is it the
all of it? all of it.
Is it really?
You have the music, which the guy recorded so much music. You know,
Yeah,
that
he
you
did.
can just
Do you like the gospel side of?
Oh, love the gospel
Okay.
side. It's some of his best stuff. It's some of his best stuff.
And he would say the same
Come on,
thing.
walk them golden stairs, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
tell me,
Uh-oh, here we
working
go.
on the building.
He's
I
preaching
mean,
now.
yeah. I mean, he touched me. Now,
Yeah.
you know, you can't hear Elvis sing "He Touched Me" and not know that he was touched.
Right.
Okay. I'm just here to tell you.
Yeah.
He delivers it like nobody else.
Yeah.
And that was something about Elvis that I can appreciate and admire, is that he could take anybody's song and he could make it his own and actually make it better.
The Beatles once said, they met him in California somewhere, and the Beatles said the most impressive thing about Elvis is, like, we were 4 guys doing it together. He goes, they couldn't figure out this was like one guy doing it all.
I would say case in point, and you know, you got to be kind of heavy into the Elvis catalog to appreciate it. But if you know some of his music, and one of my favorite albums by him is Elvis Country.
Mm-hmm.
And on that, he re-recorded a song Willie Nelson wrote called "Funny How Time Slips Away."
Yeah.
Now, Willie did a great job with the song, but it's one of my favorite Elvis songs, because I just think Elvis absolutely killed it on that song. I love how he did "Tomorrow Never Comes" on that album. Just absolute wonderful.
Oh, I feel the passion.
Yeah.
It's emanating off of you, Judge.
But on top of the music, you've got the whole personality. Elvis's whole life was on display and people loved it. Okay.
Mhm.
Because he was a great friend to people.
Mhm.
They used him and abused him. That was what the whole movie was about, wasn't it? It was how Elvis was taken advantage of by so many people.
Yeah.
And nobody stood up for him, even though he stood up for them. And that he was generous. He would give people a car. He would find out they needed a car and he would just go buy them one.
Yeah.
A famous thing, you know, in terms of Elvis costuming, is that you get, he always wore rings. And there's one very famous ring that was called the Russian Tsar, supposedly, that he owned. And it turns out it wasn't even his ring. It was his dad's ring, Vernon. And he was backstage and somebody was back there and they said, "Hey, King, love the ring." And he goes, "Well, here, take it." And his dad goes, "Wait a second, that's not even your ring to give."
Yeah.
But that's kind of the generosity of Elvis, was that he was always generous. I would say he also was a person that, although he was very kind, very generous, I would say, you know, the dude, he got involved in things that I wouldn't get involved in. But I would say overall, he was honest, loved Jesus, had integrity. You know what I mean? And he was able to do those things even in the midst of all these people taking it.
So do people all over the St. Charles County Courthouse know about this love?
Oh, they know.
Situation that you have with Elvis.
And
does everybody get along pretty much over there?
Well, I won't comment on that.
Come
okay?
on.
No matter where you go,
The fact he said that,
Lawyers,
means
judges,
you know you got
clerks.
the answer to that.
Yeah.
I would say that one of the things that I realized being an Elvis fan. Now, I was born Matthew Eugene Thornhill, so there was an E there. Okay. When I went through a confirmation type class when I was in my teens, or, you know, late, you know, 8.
Oh, confirmation name. It's great.
I took a confirmation name. Okay. And I took the name Peter. Okay. And it was providential that I did, because later on in my life, I realized that I had 2 middle names, E.P.
There you go.
When
There you go.
when I applied, when you take the bar exam, you have to request how you want, if you pass the test, how you want your name to appear on the certificate.
Elvis.
And I had literally just been to Graceland about 5 minutes before I filled that form out for maybe the 10th or 11th time. And I said, you know what? God gave me that. He gave me an EP in the middle of my name.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put Eugene Peter. I'm just going to put EP.
I love it.
Now, I put it on my driver's license. Okay. And at that time, you could do that then. You could just walk in and tell them what you wanted.
Mhm.
But sometime when I was already a judge in about 2000, and I guess it was when I was in family court for sure. So it would have been 2009 or 2010. I went to get my driver's license renewed. They said, dude, we can't renew it, because you got these names in here, this extra name that really isn't on your birth certificate. So I had to do a name change in my own building, building. Okay. And I had to submit it, got a lawyer, okay, dear friend of mine, who filed it for me. And I appeared on the court's docket that Matthew Thornhill was getting his name changed. And all the lawyers in town got to see it. And there was an urban legend that I was actually going to really change my name to Elvis. Okay. That was what people believed was going to happen on the name change.
Yeah.
And so my name is officially Matthew Eugene Peter Thornhill on my, but if people want to believe the EP stands for something else, I love that. I love it. We did our youngest daughter when she was born. Now I will tell you, when my son was born, there were 3 people in the home that voted for Elvis. And, but there was one that dissented, in that we came up with a compromise. My son's name is Calvin. So we got the LVI. We got 3 of the letters right in the middle.
Oh my God.
We
There
got
you go.
Calvin instead of
Calvin.
Elvis. And we have loved Calvin ever since.
Think about that for a second. Elvis literally retired his own name.
He did.
You
Yeah,
can't,
he
and
did.
it's like Jesus. You can't name your kid Jesus,
You
you
can't.
can't name your kid Elvis.
You can't.
Think about
Well,
that for a second.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. I worked really hard at trying to get that to happen.
Yeah.
I don't regret that it didn't. But
Yeah.
when our daughter Zira was born,
Yeah.
she was the youngest. I wanted to have a little EP. So there's the older EP. That's me. So,
But you know what? That's every
You have
time
a
you
kid
say that,
named
I think of
EP.
extended play, the old records.
and so
Yeah,
she wanted.
that's right.
That's
EP.
the-
So when
The
she was
45.
born, Heather and I decided that she would be my little EP. So her name is Zira Evangeline Presley.
Of course it is.
Thornhill.
Of course.
So
of
I
course.
have, she's my little EP, and maybe you 3 will get to meet her sometime.
I can't
and
wait.
be delighted to know the mini EP.
Hey,
okay?
speaking
A mini EP.
Speaking of your children, your Instagram account, we encourage people to go check it out for campaigning. I loved going through, and I saw your daughter. Is this your campaign team? We wanted to show
My
a little.
campaign.
We wanted to show a little video real quick, and
Sure.
you can explain what's happening here over at the Thornhill house.
Hello, welcome to Campaign 101 with Judge Thornhill. On today's episode, what the heck is a primary election? Let's go! Okay, Pop, explain a primary election to us.
The primary election is when all the candidates from the same party run against each other, and one of them wins to go on to a general election.
Okay, explain the primary to me like I'm 5.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
Well, imagine a March Madness bracket in which there's only 2 rounds. First round is the primary election. Whoever wins the primary election goes to the general election. That's the championship round.
Okay, so round 1 is Republican versus Republican, Democrat versus Democrat, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so what if there is no Democrat to run against in the November election?
Round 1 becomes the championship round, and the person that's elected wins.
One and done. That's it. Okay, 1. Does everyone like our matching t-shirts? Second of all, why should people go to their primary election in August?
Well, in St. Charles, most of the candidates are Republicans. Really, almost all of them are. And because of that, all of your local government gets decided at the primary election on August the 6th. And if you want to say then who it's going to be that's going to be making decisions about you and your community, you have to go to the Republican primary and vote there.
That's exactly right. Like, I mean, please, go vote for president, but if you want to make a change in your community, in your life, vote in August! See you there!
That's right.
Nice
Vote in
job.
August.
Your
Vote in
daughter's
August.
awesome.
How old is your
Yes,
daughter that we were
That
just
daughter is
listening to?
22.
She's
that daughter is
great.
22. She's a photographer and has been running businesses since she was 15 years old.
Did a good job with
An
the reels there too,
entrepreneur
Judge.
And does a great job as a photographer. Very gifted at that. Very hard worker. High standards. Love that about her. Great character. She and my older daughter, Martha, who is actually a marketing manager at the Long Row Lavender Farm in Wright City. So
Aw,
she
that's
markets
great.
for her job. They both, you'll see them
I know
both.
exactly where that is.
And that's an awesome place.
It is a great
You'll
place.
see them both do different things with the social media. My younger daughter, the 16-year-old Phoebe that I mentioned, she also has made a few things for the social media. They basically, when I ran the last time, I tried to do social media myself. And let's just say the summary was, Dad, you look like a corpse. Okay. On your social
Dad, you look like
media.
a corpse.
We need to get some life in this thing. Okay.
Mhm.
You're prohibited from doing anything anymore. We are going to take it completely over.
Yeah.
And they said, and they've highlighted that so much of the people, the kids in their, I say kids, but the voters in their generation, this is how you reach them. You reach them through Instagram. You reach them through
And
Facebook.
They
and
are
social
voters, but Well, so you started in 2006 or 8 or somewhere in there?
I started on January 1st of 2007. I was elected in 06, but I started on January
Gotcha.
1st.
So 2007, it's 24 right now. What are the issues that have gone the way of the dodo bird in St. Charles County, and what are the pressing issues right now that are do you handle any of that stuff? Do you make decisions on, let's say, land use and all that other stuff?
Well, I
And-
mean, there's all kinds of things that we've experienced that I would say had more to do with criminal things.
Criminal.
I would
Okay.
say that because of the way crime has moved over here
Mhm.
through, I'm not saying that people moved over here, but certainly issues with what people should be held in jail. You mentioned that earlier,
Yes.
Eric. You know, there's this issue. We went through a phase as judges in 2020 when the virus, which no matter what you believe about it, everyone went fanatical about it. And the Supreme Court came to us and said, you need to let everybody out of jail. This is a horrible thing that all these people could be bringing the virus into the jail.
Wow.
And you need to basically really reconsider bonds. And so we've been through this whole thing of what's appropriate. Okay, that was the encouragement for us to take. I'm not saying they told us we had to lower them, but they certainly emphasized that we need to reconsider the way in which we did cash bail. And so we went through this whole issue. And the irony of it was, speaking of irony, is that a lot of people got their bond reduced and got let out of jail pretty quickly. And lo and behold, and it reduced the population of the jail in the short run. But guess what? They didn't have to post anything, so they didn't come back to court. None of them. And so within about 3 months, they all got picked up, and the jail population was bigger than it had ever been because now we weren't going to get out because they had skipped out on their bail.
Yeah.
And so I would say the things that are the most pressing, perhaps, is how to respond to the increase in crime, maybe violent crime
Is it
in this community.
What's the numbers?
That's always going to be something that's going to happen, Eric. Our population is incredible now.
But
That's
I
one of the
disagree with
things
that.
about
I think,
campaigning
but
is
don't
that-
you? But don't you think that you said it always had, the crime always has to go up? Can it be such an overwhelming prosecutory environment in a community with overwhelming consequences, like you talked about before, that you go, there's not a chance in hell I'm going to go over and do a crime in
here's
St.
the
Charles?
thing, Eric. I didn't mean it the way I think you heard it.
Okay.
What I'm saying is when the population reaches 400,000 people, you just have so many people by percentages. Crime may not be a higher percentage than it used to be, but there's more of it
Gotcha.
because by
The density.
Eric, people are nuts.
And
we're nuts.
I hope that you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I know.
And when people live together in community, they rub each other the wrong way, don't they? And they do things that you and I wouldn't do, but they do them anyway.
But I love.
And so it's just a question of how are we going to handle when I say the natural uptick, it's a population uptick by percentages. We may only have 1% of violent crime relative to maybe other more urban areas, but that 1%, as you increase the population, goes up by numbers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so how are we going to appropriately respond with respect to bonds? How are we going to sentence people? What are we going to do to try to deter it, if that's possible? And what's appropriate? What's reasonable? How should we, for us as a judiciary, to put the kibosh on it, like you're kind of describing, Eric, so that the prosecutor has a similar role. What are they going to do to respond to this? How are they going to prioritize as between different types of crime? And is there really victimless crimes, for example? And what are we going to do with those things, like drug possessions?
Yeah.
We've had this incredible thing that just happened with the marijuana legalization, and how many cases that changed.
Yeah.
And we've had to go back and expunge those records. And I think, sadly, I think I can say it this way, that once you legalize marijuana, which was always a gateway drug, that's what we always learned when we went to judicial college. People that were involved in law enforcement always said you start with marijuana and eventually you get tired of it. You move on to something stronger.
Okay.
And it's real. And the marijuana that we're dealing with right now is way stronger than anything because it's been genetically modified.
Yeah.
And it's being sold as a very powerful drug that, if, let's just say, soccer moms think, well, I just need to chill out, I'm going to go get some marijuana gummy. The marijuana gummy that she's ingesting while she drives her kids to soccer practice is probably 10 times or 50 times stronger than any marijuana that existed in Missouri 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just don't think people recognize that they're running a great risk and that it's a very dangerous thing to get involved in. And I guarantee, Eric, you've seen it too. You're sitting at a stoplight and the people next to you are smoking weed in the car now. And you say that just cannot be a safe thing. And what are we going to do about all those things in terms of what's law enforcement? How do we respond to people smoking weed in the car now?
But these are all conversations that you're having with your colleagues as well.
These are things that have to be decided. We're in sort of a brand new world with these things. I would say the way in which people perceive families now, is a huge issue that that we don't know where we're going anymore with that. We have now issues involving same-sex unions, and the children that might be involved in those and how they're going to be treated if they split up. These are new things. These are new things that as a judiciary, we don't really have. It has to be kind of made up as you're going. You have to try to apply principles that already exist, but it's a totally different dynamic. And so those are the things when you ask, what are the things that are changing in the legal environment? Those are the things that are changing. And and whether you agree or disagree, but philosophically or morally with some of these things as a judge, you have to be involved in it and you have to fairly and reasonably resolve the disputes that come up. And you have to do it with the law as your guide and not your own, let's just say, preferences. You have to be able to put those aside.
But let me ask you this,
and then we'll let you go after this because you've been with us for an hour.
This is a great point, and I'd love. And I was talking to our friend Scotty about this one day. Are there judges on other benches where you work that you're like, that guy is he wants to legalize pot. He's very sympathetic to the defendant or to whatever plight that might be in front of him. So you could have I think pot is a gateway drug, and the other judge might be like, no, this needs to be legalized like immediately. I mean, are there those kind of ideologies that go on in the court?
I can only tell you that any courthouse you go into, whether it's mine or whether it's another one, the lawyers that practice in that building always have sort of what you'd call the book on everybody. Who's the most likely to throw people in jail, forever and throw away the key. And who's the person that's the most likely to give them probation?
Right.
Who's the person who's going to allow people to create total chaos in their marriage, do all kinds of immoral and mean things to their spouse and act like nothing happened. There are judges that'll say there's no consequence for bad behavior in divorce. And then there's people that say there is a consequence for bad behavior in divorce.
I always wondered that. Why can't a judge or a lawyer petition for that judge? You know what I mean? It's like, well, why do you get that judge?
The thing is, you can always, every person, when a case gets assigned to a particular judge, they have a certain amount of time to decide whether they want to stay with him or her. And you can file a disqualification. And if you file it within the prescribed time, the judge cannot deny it.
Right.
Okay. I got in trouble for not allowing people to disqualify me after an entire year of being with me. And I discovered there actually was a statute that suggested that if a case is an associate circuit court, you can disqualify the judge almost at any time.
Wow.
As long as it's not within 5 days.
Well, maybe we'll get you back on. That was a very fast hour, my friend.
Well, it was a fast hour.
And
very fast.
Yeah. And if we didn't have a guest coming in right now, we'd keep you on too. We'll have you back. Did you have fun?
I did. I enjoyed this. Enjoyed meeting Eric.
Very informative.
I do consider myself a singer, Eric. So
Platinum Rock Legends is his band.
I'm not totally sure that you would agree that I'm a singer. Okay.
I'm not a bass player either then.
Thank you for having me. It has really been a joy to get a chance to be here.
Yeah, you brought us donuts. So
wait, what?
He brought us donuts. You can dig into those, Eric.
I can watch my girlish figure, but I would.
Yeah, we got the Thornhill shirts. You'll see them all over the place.
All over the
yes,
place.
And before we leave, Kojo, can you put up his pickleball that's coming up? If you want to tell us
what
about
is
that?
going on here today?
I know we got all kinds of presents.
Pickleball. What?
Pickleball.
Yes.
Okay.
We are
you want to talk
having
about
a fundraising event where over at Chicken and Pickle.
Awesome.
Love
We'd
it.
like it to be kind of an event where people can do things instead of just standing around. Then
That is a great idea.
I love it.
We have pickleball for some. We'll have obviously they have bocce ball, which is one of my favorite sports, and cornhole. Come on, tell me. You can't
Everybody's
love
got to
that.
play cornhole.
And,
Yeah, but do you
I
play-
don't know whether we'll have the time for 1 million people to play pickleball in 3 hours, but we're going to give it a shot and get excited about the campaign and thank our supporters and that have all shown love to us. And we expect it to be just a tremendous night.
Well, Judge Matthew Thornhill, and what website can people go to check you out?
You can gateway to the website either at votethornhillforjudge.com. That'll get you there, or judgethornhill2024.com.
Very cool.
Will take you right to me.
Judge, we
My
appreciate you coming in
Facebook
today.
and Instagram are similar. They're both Vote Thornhill for Judge in some way or another. If you put those in, you should be able to find my social media also.
So as you get up and leave, we can say EP has left the
EP.
building.
Whoa! I love it. EP has left the building.
I love it. How
Judge,
lucky.
we appreciate it. We'll
Thank
be
you,
in
Judge.
touch.
Thank you,
my friend.
Judge.
Bass player before I go. Every singer needs a bass
What
player.
you see, you got it. Thank you.
I know.
Absolutely.
Yes, Thank you.
God bless. Cancel
Yes, we are the
Cancel them.
outcasts of the band. We are the janitors of the band, but I'm all right with that.
What size shirt do you want me to leave?
A large, and I'll wear it Friday night at Helen Fitzgerald's with no sleeves.
Hey,
Right, Joe?
That's right.
yeah, Pro Joe will
Thank
take
you,
care of
and
that.
look
Yeah,
forward to being back with you again.
I
All right.
can't wait, Judge.
I'm
Thank you.
telling you what, if
very
you,
organic show.
if
That's
you
what we
live-
kind
I
of
love
do.
it.
if you
He's
live
so
in
fun.
St. Charles, this means something because you
Yeah, it
see
does.
it all
All
the time.
over. It's like his signs are
Yes.
everywhere, and they're nostalgic because he said, what did he say? They're like 20-year-old theme.
EP has left the building
He
and
has left.
KM is entering.
That's right. Here comes.
Hey, Pro Joe, are we going to get her monitor switch, buddy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, this is not cheap, flimsy.
No.
You can tell a good candidate because this is a real, this is a real deal T-shirt.
Yes. And you want me to tell you? Okay.
This is not a Hanes T-shirt that's going to shrink in the first wash.
You know what told me where I knew that he was my guy
Yeah.
was the person who made these shirts is Happy Camper. And they're my neighbor. I did not know that they were so behind Thornhill. I should have known. They go to the same church, but they made it. And Happy Camper can be found on Main Street. They have their own store.
Well, who knew that?
That's
Didn't
right.
Know that.
Yeah.
But, well,
on
and
Main Street, and they love him.
before we get to Kelly today, because it is Friday and it's kind of all over the place, you might be having a bad day if Tiger Woods is picking you up from jail. And Tiger
Yeah.
Woods,
Speaking of judges,
That's right.
Tiger,
That's right.
Tiger picked up Scotty Scheffler, the world's #1 golf player today. And we've all had some of these situations in our life at some point. And we'll bring Kelly in when we can. And we'll welcome Kelly. Kelly!
There she
Hi.
is.
Kelly Manno from the Kelly Manno Show jumps in. Did you hear any of the judge at all?
He was hilarious.
Isn't he the best?
He seemed like such a fun guy.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to a ton of it, but in and out.
And he's in St. Charles County where you are as well.
Well,
So
sweet.
there you go.
I'll go vote in the primaries.
You've got Judge Thornhill over there. Okay, did you hear this
He
story
really
about
is
Scotty
awesome.
Scheffler this morning, guys?
Uh-uh.
I
Number
did.
one golfer
I
in the
did.
world.
I did.
What they're playing at Valhalla. A pedestrian got hit by a transport bus, died. That's the sad part. Scotty Scheffler's trying to get into the golf course to go golf his morning round. So he's in a marked car behind a bus. He gets out from behind the bus, tries to go into the country club where he's going to golf.
Yeah.
And a guy in a yellow jacket who happens to be a cop tells him, no, you can't. And he drives about 10 to 20 more yards. And he's like, apparently they're talking. He's like, I got to get in. I got to get in. I'm a golfer. The cop then jumps on the side of the car as he's trying to drive in. Finally, Scotty Scheffler rolls down the window. The cop grabs him, like tries to pull him out of the car. So they get out of the car. They're talking like, you're arrested. They literally pulled Scotty Scheffler out of the car, handcuffed him, arrested him, and took him to jail right before his round today. And Tiger Woods went and picked him up from jail.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
And this
And
was
he is
like
thought to be the nicest, kindest guy on tour.
He's like, I'll give you 20 strokes if you come get me.
He's just trying to get to work.
He's trying to get to work. And the PGA actually has cars that they give you so that you have licensing on it. There's a show and a sign to go work that they're working at the club. They're not a spectator. Crazy ass stuff. Somebody asked us to talk about it, which is why I went overboard. I always feel bad for police. He said he didn't know it was a cop because he had a yellow jacket on. It was dark and it was raining.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad combination.
Have you ever had any of those situations?
Oh yeah.
I had a guy was trying to go up the press box one time at Missouri, and he stopped me. I had a badge, and he literally grabbed me. He was like a campus ROTC guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Literally grabbed me from you. I was like, I've got my badge. I don't care what you have. I'm like, I'm going to be late. I'm trying to go up the stairs, and literally caused a massive ordeal.
Yeah.
I almost went to jail in Seattle one time because I wouldn't stop for a cop because the cop car was an unmarked Honda with one of those little lights in the
Yeah,
thing.
how would you know?
And I was like, man, I'm not stopping for this guy in downtown Seattle at
Yeah.
1 a.m. And he pulled me. He goes, get out of the car. I'm taking you to jail for resisting arrest. I go,
What?
I go, dude, you are in a Honda.
Yep.
And he goes, okay. He goes, just slow. I mean, I was that close to
Mhm.
getting a felony arrest because the dude pulled me over in a Honda.
Yeah.
So high.
Well, of course, it would be a police officer in a Honda. That
Huh?
would be, kind of.
Well, he was
obviously
one of those
the
drug
Honda
enforcement
dude.
guys, one of those guys that drives through and,
Yeah,
one of those
like
guys.
the security.
Yeah.
A security cop.
I had a cop yell at me one time because he was trying to pull me over on one of the stretch of highway that does not have a shoulder,
Mhm.
right? Like, I mean, there's no shoulder. It would not have been safe. And so when he put on his lights behind me, I put on my hazards and I dropped to about 10 miles below the speed limit so
Yes.
that he knew, look,
you were gonna
I
pull
see
over.
you. And it took about probably a good mile before we got to a part on the highway that had a
Yes.
shoulder. And I pulled over for him and he got out screaming at me,
Yes.
screaming
Yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't want you to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Like what part of common sense? Like sometimes men
Yeah.
just their egos get so full that they can't see through the trees that hey, I'm not disrespecting you. I
Mhm.
wasn't running. I was going 10 miles under the speed limit.
Yeah.
Call me your shit.
Calm your shit. Calm your
God.
shit.
God.
Don't just calm down. Calm
Calm
your
your
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes, call me shit.
Yeah.
There you go. Calm your shit.
How has your week been? How has the last 2 weeks been?
It's
since
been
we've seen
good.
you?
Yeah, it's been really, really
She's got a
good.
glow.
I
I've
heard-
got a
Lizzie.
glow.
She still has
No,
a glow,
I-
doesn't she?
I heard you got high.
No.
She's living her best life.
She is living her
This
best
is
life.
when we should have had Joe pull up.
And was this the first time you've ever gotten high before you tell us the story?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I feel like
There
we need
go.
the Afro
Oh,
Man
was
song.
it on accident or was it like, oh,
It
There
was
we
on
go.
complete accident.
I've been there with you.
Okay, so you guys know I don't drink.
Yeah.
I don't do drugs.
What do you do?
I'm just
She's
naturally
high on life. Eric.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
high on life.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
the energy of a crackhead. So like I don't need any of that
Same,
stuff.
Yeah.
same.
And I don't judge anybody who does
Yeah.
at all. People drink, do your weed, do whatever you want as long as it's legal and you're
Mhm.
getting your shit done. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's what I told Joe. I don't care if you come in stoned.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting your work done.
As long
I
as you can
never come in stone.
But I told you I don't care if you do.
But he doesn't. I've never known him to
Give it
drink or stone.
give it a
I'll
shot.
remember that.
yeah. So I had tried weed a couple times in college, did not like it. It made me paranoid. That's the main reason I don't drink or do drugs is because I don't like being out of control. I'm a control freak.
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit. And so I have a friend who does all the weed gummies, and a lot of times she'll get these samples of the CBD ones, which have no
Yeah.
drug in them. I mean, you
Do
can
they?
you can buy
I
the
don't know.
CBD stuff at like a health store.
Then what's the point of it?
Well, that's
Right?
why she doesn't take them and gives them to me
Yeah.
because they help you sleep. And I've taken plenty of these little CBD.
Well,
things.
then they got drugs in it.
no.
Think about
No.
that for a
Not
second.
CBD.
CBD does not have drugs in
No.
it.
Well,
It's
then
like
how does it make you go to sleep?
No,
Well, it's
CBD is
like-
it's different than THC.
Is it?
THC is the product in it that makes you
What
stoned.
about BVD? Boys to Men. How
No,
about anything? None of that?
BVDs were underwear.
Okay, whatever. See all these acronyms. I'm completely confused.
Oh my
Well, don't worry, Eric. We're going to show you a video of Kelly getting stoned in a
So
second.
here's what happened. My friend like 2 weeks ago had given me these gummies. She's like, here, these are the ones that don't have the weed in it. I get samples. I get this. I don't want it. I'm like, okay. Stuck them in my car. Didn't even look at them for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then not last Sunday, but the Sunday before,
Mhm.
I was home for the night and I just thought, God, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Mm-mm.
I should take one of those gummies to kind of like wind down.
Oh, no.
So I take a gummy at like 6:30 at night and I'm going about my night and I'm sitting and I'm watching the hockey game with my daughter, Lucy. And I thought I heard gunshots. And I'm like, Lucy, where are these gunshots coming from? And she's like, Mom, it's on the TV. And then she said something about work and I said, and about LeBron James. And I'm like, hey, you never know, like LeBron James could come into your work. Now, Lucy's a waitress at a St. Charles breakfast diner. So I don't think LeBron is coming in. And she
don't know. Maybe he could.
And she looked at me and goes, what is wrong with you? And at that moment I went, I think I'm high. I think I might be high. So I wasn't sure. So I scurried up to my bedroom and sat there for a while. And then pretty soon I realized that I had been sitting in the same spot for an hour, just staring at the wall laughing. And I'm like, I am so stoned right now. And
so it took an hour to hit you.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's usually what it. Yeah.
And then when I started putting it together, I was like, oh my God, I'm totally stoned right now. And it's only 7:30. I got to let the dogs out. I got to lock up the house. I've got 3 kids downstairs. And I'm not just kind of high.
Then I got high. Then I got high.
I am stoned off my rocker, like just in my bedroom, laughing to myself.
Yes.
And then I didn't know what to do. Then I was panicking because I thought, I was convinced that if anybody knew I was high, they were going to come and take my kids away.
Oh my!
Right? Because I'm like, I am the worst parent ever, and nobody can know that I'm high.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do, and so I
should have called your friend immediately.
Well, that was a thought, but instead I started Snapchatting.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
It's coming. You're gonna want to watch it. So. I don't know. We're just gonna call my boyfriend Brawny, right? He looks like the Brawny paper shop guy.
Do you call him Brawny?
No,
you don't.
No, but
call him Brawny though.
Yeah, no, that's a good nickname for him.
I like Brawny.
So I started blowing up Brawny's phone with Snapchat messages, going, "What am I gonna do now? What do I do when I'm high?" And so,
so you took a gummy.
Oh yeah,
right.
Was
do you know how many milligrams?
CBD.
Was it 10 milligrams?
It was like a 25 one.
Holy crap!
Wait a minute.
I cut it in half.
Not the CBD.
No, it was THC.
THC, and you took half of it.
So it was like 12 or 13, I think, of it.
Oh my God.
And you're a little bit.
And I don't do this stuff. And then when I realized I was stoned, I was laughing so hard. And then I thought they were going to take
12 milligrams, 13 milligrams for the first time.
Here's some of the videos that I was sending to
Brawny.
Okay, Brawny, let's go.
Let's go, Brawny.
It's possible I'm a little bit high because it's like I took a fourth of one of those little chocolate bars. I've been sitting in the same spot in my bed for like an hour. Okay, so what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? Do I get up and go downstairs and finish my shit for the night? Or am I going to...
You are stoned.
Oh, that's your
Out
boyfriend.
your goddamn mind.
Yeah.
Damn!
Was
he mad?
No, he was cracking up. He was like, "Go to bed." Well, first he's like, "Enjoy it." I'm like, "I can't. I've got kids here."
That was my next question. Was my next question.
How could you? Yeah.
You stumbled into the world of THC. Were you like, this kicks ass? Or were you like, I because when I did it for the first time, when I was like, I can't wait for this to be over. As a matter of fact, I was a little kid and I went into a hot tub and I tried to get it
hot
to go.
tub with it.
Yeah, I just sat in a hot tub crying because I wanted it over so bad.
That's what I
Is that
kept.
how you were?
Yes, I kept asking Brawny. I'm like, when is this going to end? How long does this last? He's
Ask
like,
Joe.
He's like, what time did you take it?
I think getting high is the worst feeling ever. That's my opinion.
What?
I have never enjoyed it because it makes me paranoid.
Yeah.
I will say that this particular high probably actually would have been fun. It seemed like a fun high had I not have responsibilities.
What if you were around a bunch of people in your backyard?
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Really? I feel out of control.
You got to call
I would feel out of
somebody
control, too.
that has experience in getting high if you get high, because they can talk you and walk you through the process.
Brawny is an expert at that. That's why I was messaging him.
Okay.
So
I get it.
Yeah, he does that instead of taking like chronic pain medicine.
Would you do it again?
No, I mean,
if you're like, okay, we're going to go to the club, me and Brawny, or with my girlfriend, everybody take 12.5 milligrams of this thing and let's go have some fun.
The club, no. I could see myself doing it again on like a night in where I know I'm not going anywhere and I'm hanging out with friends.
Yeah, you don't want to get high and go to a club.
But yeah,
there's other drugs for that, Eric.
There's something
What's wrong with you people? Jeez.
But tell me why
I get tired.
Exactly.
Tell me why
Yes.
I still have guilt from like Nancy Reagan. Like, just say no. Like, I am a grown ass woman, and there is something about like doing THC or weed that makes me go, oh my God, I signed that DARE pledge in 5th
Well,
grade.
because you're a human being and you were programmed, and I totally agree with
Victim
that.
of indoctrination.
But it's not even that. It's just that the feeling of it. And that's what I'm more concerned. I mean, this is like your opportunity to say, am I going to do it again? And if you're like, nah, I'm out. Or did you like it so much you're like, I'm not going to get addicted to this garbage, but yeah, I can
But
see
you know what, Eric? That's a good point. How did you sleep?
Like a baby.
Bingo.
Like a baby.
The sleep gummies are absolutely amazing from what I
And that's what it was a sleep gummy?
Well, no, I accidentally took the wakey one. I like
the wakey.
Okay.
She took a sativa.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how did that work? Did you feel like you wanted to go to sleep?
Well, I just laid down on my bed and was like, it was like I was a little kid, like pretending to be asleep, and then I would start laughing because I mean, I wish I could go back in time and go down and just tell my kids I was high, because they would have thought.
Well, they know now.
They know now. They know, because I told them the next day. I had to. I'm like, Lucy. I'm like, last night when I was talking about LeBron James coming into your work, I'm like, she's like, I'm like, was I acting weird? She's like, yeah, but like just normal weird.
Yeah, but now they're going to be able, they have the ultimate leverage over you now when they're 22, 23.
Right. Yeah.
So were you stoned last night? Yes, I was, Mom. I saw you get stoned one night.
Right.
Yeah,
I guess you're right.
But they're not, it's not legal for them yet. So when they reach 21.
Are you cool with that?
When they reach 21,
Mm-hmm.
Or legal age, I'm cool with them doing whatever they want to do responsibly.
Right.
You know, I talk to Rocky a lot because he's 19, almost 20.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell him, don't ever drink because you're sad.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Don't ever drink because you're sad.
Mhm.
You only drink because you're happy, you're celebrating with friends, you have somewhere safe to be, you're not going to drive.
Well, you shouldn't take any drugs when you're sad. That goes for marijuana as well.
Sure, absolutely.
You just shouldn't. You
don't
should
do
not.
anything when you're sad.
Joe, Joe, you love certain brands and you swear by cannabis. You made a comment. What do you feel about the whole conversation?
I don't know. This is a very anti-weed. Or
No, it's not. We want to see
no,
you. Can we see you too?
No, because I don't think that people who have I'm not into that stuff. I think that's as much about the conversation as people.
Yeah, and why?
yourself.
And why do you think it's anti?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
anti.
Your opinion.
I don't like
is one
asparagus
thing.
either. It doesn't mean that you have to not like asparagus.
Well, the one thing that I would have really liked to ask Matthew Thornhill is what crime has he seen increase since the legalization of marijuana? Or has
Yeah, one of our listeners want to know, how do we go from a judge
right
to
Right.
Kelly on this topic?
It's the joys of Friday.
Yep.
Free for all Friday.
I'm the expert now.
Kelly felt like going and sticking up a quick trip
I think that
at 3 a.m.
I definitely think that weed is much better than pharmaceutical drugs if it can take the place of like a Xanax or something like that. And yeah, I need to get Nancy Reagan's voice out of my head.
All I know is it's not the evil drug that everybody thinks it.
Oh, I don't think it's evil at all.
I think alcohol is way worse. I
Way
think
worse.
I think
Well,
sugar's worse than them all.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have a Thornhill saying weed is a gateway drug echoing in my
But
head.
you know that. But here's the thing.
But he wasn't saying it that's what he felt. I thought he was saying that's what people were telling him.
But
Right.
there's
But
been
it
a lot of
legislated.
quote evidence or reports that show it is a gateway. That's just what studies have said. That's what I think he's referring.
Yeah,
to.
I don't think he was saying it. He was just saying how
See,
they
this
all
is-
have.
But you've never heard that said
He-
that weed
I've heard
is a
it said it's
gateway drug.
Gateway drug,
And
but
then there's
you can
studies.
say that about a lot of things.
I feel like weed is maybe a gateway drug for younger kids who are
Yes.
coming up and partying.
Yes.
I think if you're a
Yes.
grown adult
Right there.
and you start using it to sleep or to relax, I don't think that if I started taking gummies that like next year I'm going to be like snorting coke off a
No,
hooker's ass.
but
Like,
but she makes a great point. It's
That
not,
would be
it's
some
not
interesting
for,
content.
It's not for some 30-year-old soccer mom who accidentally takes 12 grams of this crap. That's not what he's saying. I think he's more talking about the 16-year-old that's hanging out with the gummies, the
Yes.
THC guys, and they're like, "Hey, I got this stuff also over here. It's I don't know if you want to try it. It's heroin, or whatever, you know." And then it's like, "Oh, well, the gummy stuff didn't kill me. Maybe this won't kill me."
So,
I think that's a fair
but-
conversation.
However, I mean, maybe this has happened to him. However, when he said that, oh, you know, you've sat in traffic and you look over and somebody's smoking a joint, I have never seen that.
I've not only seen it, I've smelled it.
Ameristar the other night.
But that could mean that somebody in
No,
the
I've
past
seen it
is
several
smoking. That doesn't
times,
mean
yeah.
that the driver's smoking. And I'm not saying that everybody is, you know, being really responsible with this shit. I'm just saying I've never experienced.
As a libertarian and the only one in the room,
You're not a libertarian.
whatever. I feel like whatever makes you happy between day 1 and day 0, do it.
Yeah.
But understand the consequences of your actions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've tried pot. I thought one night
It's not for everybody.
One night I did a joint in Des Moines, Iowa on stage. I thought the show was never going to end. I was like, God, why are we still in the first song? Where's the encore?
It slows time.
It slows down time.
Yes,
it does.
I really knew I was stoned when I realized I've been sitting in this bed staring at the wall for an hour. Like,
Yes.
a whole hour went by. And then getting stoned when you had no intention of it was wild.
All right, will you do this again?
I don't
Eric
know.
Asher.
I turned it all over to I give it to Brawny. I'm like, take this. I'm like, leave it at your house. I don't need it. You know, I don't know. Maybe
the
Good
night I
old Brawny.
propose is the night I'll give you your other
There's
gum.
no purpose.
There you go. Are we getting close to that?
No.
Oh,
Okay,
when's the date?
No.
Come on.
No, we've been dating like 6 weeks.
I don't know.
I've
There's
heard
a glow.
less.
No.
I've heard less.
I saw your ex since I've seen you last.
Oh yeah.
Out at a derby party. Megan and I were at a derby party, and as soon as I walked up, he knew exactly who I was before I even had a chance to introduce myself.
What does the ex think of the guy?
That's
So
exactly where I was
funny,
going there.
funny story.
Great minds.
They went to high school together.
Whoa!
What?
What are the chances?
They were in home.
Did they know
What
each
are
other?
the freaking chances?
What in the world?
So they played on the same high school baseball team.
Oh my gosh.
But Brawny was 1 year younger than Jimmy.
I will never be able to not call him Brawny.
I'm calling him
Go ahead.
Brawny.
And
Brawny.
so when I started dating Brawny and he realized, hey, I know your ex-husband, like this does not feel right, even though I knew that Brawny couldn't have been really good friends with him because I would have known him. 20 years with Jimmy, I know everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I texted Jimmy and I was like, hey, just so you know, I started dating this guy and you know him, blah, blah, blah. And Jimmy wrote back and said, oh my God, that is one of the nicest guys I've ever known in my entire life. And I am so happy that you found him.
Yes.
And then he took like 2 weeks later, he messaged Brawny, Jimmy did, and was like made a joke, of course, at first about him stealing my girl, but then he's like, no, seriously, I hope you guys work out because I know Brawny, I know his family, he comes from good people, and he's somebody that I would love to, you know.
Just think
Good
about
stock.
this. There's going to be
Good stock. Comes from good stock.
There's going to be a day when you guys might have a barbecue for a graduation or something. Brawny will be there, your ex will be there, and they might be playing cornhole together.
Oh yeah, I think they're kind of excited to see each other because they knew each other through baseball.
Yeah,
you know, and
isn't that going to be kind of fun? And it's a unique thing for you because most relationships don't happen like that.
No, but we can do it. I know that we can. Maybe the first meeting might be a little bit awkward.
Really?
It might take a few months to kind of get in the swing of things, but no, I fully expect and I hope that Jimmy finds somebody who's equally as awesome and we can just blend our whole
you
family.
have a friend.
It's best for kids.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. Oh yeah.
I've just through some personal situations and talking, you never know what can happen. And you could be living in an area with your ex. And so it's easier for your kids as they get older.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation recently and the possibility of living maybe for a period of time where my ex or in the area where my ex lives. And it's easier for the kids.
I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Vacation or holidays.
Yeah.
I think
kids aren't having to choose what state they're going to.
I think
football games.
Jimmy and I will always live within like 5 or 10 minutes of each other. We'll never live far apart. So, and we've got a family vacation coming up in July. So, you know,
that's interesting. Huh?
So you went for
no,
you went for the younger guy.
Yeah, I did.
if only by a year.
Yeah, I did.
That's Kelly Manno from the Kelly Manno Show with us. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in House, and of course Eric Johnson. It's a lot of fun talk. We're gonna get you fired up now because you're pissed off, and you're not the only one.
Roll up my
You know, it's
sleeves.
interesting because I thought, and this is a great topic with the Kansas City Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, because he had a commencement speech at a very Catholic college, Benedictine. We've got some of the sound so people can hear it first.
Yes.
This has become it's a national story now. Everybody is talking about or a lot of people are talking about Harrison Butker and his speech. And it is interesting because I'll tell you this before we start. My girlfriend, who is Catholic, devout Catholic, she agrees with you on some issues here.
I hope she does.
But I'm telling you, I know more women who don't.
Well, his jersey is the number one selling jersey.
Yes.
What?
Even over,
Are you kidding me?
it's now number one.
Oh my!
Because we
What
still
world are we living in?
In a world where arrot men cannot handle
Here we go.
strong women.
Let's listen to somebody. We got a couple Harrison bites to hear what he said at his commencement speech at Benedictine College, which is not all that far from the St. Louis area.
I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all.
Stop it.
Homemaker.
Homemaker.
Did what Harrison say in that part of that video, in that part of his speech, was that repulsive to you? Did that, upset you in some way?
I felt like he was helping women. I heard that speech and I was like, finally, someone's speaking up for us. That's what I felt. And I didn't realize, and I made a tweet about it, I didn't realize how controversial it was. And
Okay, there you go. That's just one female's perspective.
Who is that? And did she just say that we need men standing up for women?
Yes.
We got to listen to everybody.
And Kelly, this is the first time you and I are going to be on completely.
Hold on a second.
This is going to be so
but
good.
Butker, there's also one more to finish it. That was one excerpt. We've got
That's one.
Yeah.
Here's the other Harrison talking
You want a
about.
donut while we're waiting?
Yeah, we probably need a donut.
Here he is finishing his commencement speech.
Has the potential to leave a legacy that transcends yourselves and this era of human existence. In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
Here we go.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
I love it.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel,
I love it.
would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I
Is that
All
it?
right.
you go.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
That's the resolve.
Yeah. And here's the reason
I'm not
why.
saying anything. I want, you guys.
Okay,
I'm going
here's
to wait.
The reason why I liked it.
I should go get coffee while these.
Let's
things
hear a
happen.
female perspective.
Okay. Here
I'll
is
take a
why
donut.
I liked it. I think that, my mom said that because I was raised to be a very independent person and to basically boss my husband around. Totally was raised by my dad to do that, to be the boss. And I'm going to be honest, I got rooked. And the reason why I got rooked is because I was the breadwinner. I made all of the money. I did all of the stuff. I was all of the disciplinarian. I did all of this, plus was the soft mama, this or that. And my kids were a little out of control, just a little out of control, because it was like I was this woman libber, did all this stuff. And when I finally had enough and I couldn't do it anymore, I literally said to my husband, here's our family. I can't do it. I think I totally took the balls off my husband. And our family was kind of in disarray. When I stepped back, stopped running the preschool, made my husband handle all of it, He handles all of it, does all the finances, does all of the thing. And I'm just the mom now. I am just the mom. And our family is blossoming like I have never seen before because I stopped, taking the balls off my husband. Now, that being said, I still can do whatever I want to. I can still go where I want, do what I want, spend all my husband's money, do all this stuff where I'm not stressed anymore. And so I'm not saying that a woman should work or a woman shouldn't work, but I think we've carried the role where I think I'm glad that men are stepping up. A man can just be a man and let the woman do the homemaking stuff. But a woman can't do that. A woman, even if you're the breadwinner, we're still the nurturer mom, and we are worn out. I think we were told lies. We were told lies. You can do it all. We cannot do it all without being a little bit of a bitch, at least in my case. At least in my case. So that's why I think there's so many feminists that are so freaking pissed because their husbands are not wired to be a woman.
Right. Well,
this is interesting because Kelly's not a feminist.
Oh no, I don't think she is. I don't think she's a feminist.
No,
I'm not saying
but
she's
but
a
see,
feminist.
you were blessed with a husband that could take on that role, and there are so many women who don't have that husband.
And I agree. And I agree.
And I
but I didn't allow him for years. For years, I was the boss, all of it, and he didn't rise. And I mean, if my husband's listening, he'll admit it. I didn't let him. So no matter what he could do, I just pushed him back down. And when I realized I couldn't anymore, wow, this is great.
So when looking at the speech, you guys know I'm not political, so I want you guys to try to take the politics out of it because I know that he made a bunch of cracks at Joe Biden, and that probably got you all excited.
I didn't hear.
Okay,
yeah, that wasn't my fault.
I need you to take that little part, put it aside, and we're just going to talk about what he had said about women. He told a group of women that had just busted their ass in college that the idea that they could have a happy, thriving career was a diabolical lie. They are sitting there in their graduation cap and gowns, and he just told them that their life does not begin until they become mommies. That's not true. That's not how women operate anymore. I love the traditional sense of a home. I love the man being the leader and the woman being like more, not submissive, but more of a submissive role. I love that women stay home and raise their kids. I think that's awesome. I stayed home with my kids, but damn it, we fought so hard and so long for that not to be our only option. Like we fought so hard for the right to go out and the right to work. And then we have men like this who are so like the lack of self-awareness of him, the I am exhausted by male arrogance.
I see how it can come across where he comes across as being callous or not understanding, but he's also a devout. I mean, he is a devout
you have
Catholic
to consider
Christian.
the college.
He is
that
considered
too.
to be one of the Tim Tebow of the NFL.
But he was not leading a mass. He was asked to be a speaker at a graduation.
Catholic.
Okay,
but it's a great point you make, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
You know what? Do I wish that he would have said what he said and how he said it? No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because when you helped me realize, I love him, and he's one of my sports heroes. But then I was like, I see your point. If you're a woman sitting there going, oh my God, I just busted my ass.
What if you're a woman in that audience who just got diagnosed with endometriosis and you can't have kids?
Yeah, another point.
Okay. And he said, and then he's going on to say, not only is your life start when you become a mommy, but also you can't do in vitro and surrogacy. And he just went on this tangent. And look, I went to a Catholic school. Not every kid in that school was Catholic. You had the kids that sat out mass, that were there for the education. And that is the same thing here. He was not standing in front of a Catholic church. He is not a priest. Okay. That's not what he was there for. And there's a difference in, I can appreciate his message of wanting to encourage people to have a traditional home, and women can do that if they want, but it should be the woman's choice. We should never go back to men telling us what we should do or what makes us happy. And I have, if Joe can pull it up, I have a video.
While he's pulling it up, Megan Marie from the chat line, her vocation, in quotes, she chose it. It's okay for a woman to not work and raise kids in a world when a woman has become being anything but a woman. It's okay to want to be a wife, and mom is how I take it.
Right. No, that's not what what he said.
And then Megan,
that's not what he said.
And then Megan, my girlfriend, chimed in. She's like, I think it's all about a woman having a choice to do whatever, not having guilt put on her to go be a homemaker.
No, he basically told them your life is worthless if you don't become a mom.
But the way I heard it was,
I listened to the whole thing.
Look, here's the thing. I think is we talk about it on this show all the time. We talk about the breakdown of the nuclear family and how it's causing distress on our society, and it is. And we're going against nature and nurture, which is a mom being. And this, when did this word become a bad word? Matriarch. It's not a bad word. Why did the word I brought it up to someone about it 2 weeks ago.
I totally see Lizzie and Kelly as matriarchs.
Yeah, but the thing is, the matriarch is important. They are the Jackie Onassis of the world. They are the woman that goes and sculpts the family. And when you see the family, there's a strong man with strong ideals in the business world and bringing in the bread or whatever it is. And you have a strong woman who's like, these are the kids that are going to grow up to be the next leaders. So when I hear him, I'm like, I'm giving you license, not just to be a lawyer, not just to be a nurse, not to be a doctor, whatever. I give you a license right now to understand you're going to be happy as a wife, and your job is to make a strong house with strong. I don't know where the controversy is in that. I do hear it, Kelly. I'm not stupid.
That's not what he said.
I'm not but if that was the message, would that be okay?
No. Well, I mean, what he did was told the women who just completed 4 years of college that the notion that they can have happy lives with their careers is a diabolical lie, and they will not be happy until they become mommies and wives.
I didn't hear it that way.
Yeah, and Kathy on the chat line said, this is kind of, I heard it too. I heard it as, even though you got this degree, you don't have to be less proud of yourself if you want to be a mom. I think that's what he's saying. Society is telling women being a mother is less than working, and women do this.
Well, some women have to. Number one.
And Lizzie's testimony is perfect.
And then some women want to.
Some women want to. So I pulled a video of a girl who was at that graduating in that class and had to sit and listen to that live.
All right, let's listen.
Let's listen.
All right. Well, since I have about 200 of y'all congratulating me and asking me what the fuck I was thinking during this speech, I thought I'd respond. Yeah, it was fucking horrible. There was a standing ovation from everyone in the room, except from me, my roommate, and about 10 to 15 other women. I graduated with a bachelor's in graphic design, and I will be working for a nationwide magazine company. I'm excited for what my career brings me. It definitely made graduation feel a little less special, knowing I had to sit through that.
They're taking offense to the nuclear family getting some attention. That's the way I
No. That was her graduation.
Yeah.
The lack of self-awareness of this guy
Benedictine
to get up
College,
there,
right? Was
Yeah,
that?
it is a very devout.
It's a Catholic.
And not just, it's not Catholic in name like SLU.
Yeah,
it's Catholic. Catholic.
And you guys have to understand, it's a Newman Catholic. People are forgetting that.
Exactly.
It's a Newman Catholic, which is very old school, devout Catholicism.
Yeah.
Okay. But he still told a room full of women that the thought of them being happy with successful careers and getting promoted and moving up is a diabolical lie. Those were the exact words out of his mouth. I watched the entire 20-minute speech front to back because I wanted to make sure I didn't take anything.
That's why I can see your point. What he should have done if he was going to go down that road, and I wish he wouldn't have, but if he was going to go down, he should have cited the data, because he was speaking from data. And if you look at data, which I have, data shows that traditional families where a mom is able and wants to be in the home, spending most time with kids, those families stay together and actually report being happier than when both people are out working.
I'm not sure, because I know
data.
I know,
but data, that's what I'm saying. Data shows. And here's the other thing that's interesting, Kelly. If I think of all the women that I know and have been around, all those women, I mean, I can't say all, but most of the women that I know and have been around would much rather be able and have that choice to be at home raising kids and not have to be out working 40 hours a week and having somebody else raise their kids.
That's the key. Women should have a choice. We should not be told what to do. And he was telling them what to do. And if we ever go back to that, I mean, a man like him is so insecure. He wants a wet blanket for a wife.
I don't think he's insecure.
Oh, 100%. Men like that are scared shitless of women becoming smarter and stronger and realizing that we can do anything a guy can do.
But keep in mind, Even all the NFL players call him one of the kindest, sweetest guy. He's not like this mean, egotistical, narcissistic.
Maybe not to them, but I don't know how he treats his wife at home.
What
And
if the wife said he's amazing?
Well, if my husband made $4 million a year, I'd be okay being a stay-at-home mom too.
Oh my God.
He is
more now that jersey's
This is
selling.
what the real issue is.
Yeah.
He is so out of touch with the core of America because there are so many women
I think
who
they are, but
who got married off at 19, all right, spent their whole lives at home raising their babies and damn near raising their husbands.
Yeah.
And then they get to adulthood. It's like, I don't even know who I am
Well, hold on,
anymore.
hold on.
I didn't have a life
Hold on.
because I was a mommy and a homemaker.
I hear you 1,000,000,000%, but you have to understand life is like this. You're born, adolescence. I'm going to destroy everything. I'm going to go to college, get a degree. I'm going to be excited. I meet my husband or my wife. Then there's this weird thing that happens in life, Kelly. It's called a kid.
Yeah.
And there's this weird thing called a mortgage and a weird thing called a yellow picket or a white picket
I wouldn't
fence.
know anything about these things, Eric.
But I'm not trying to be offensive at all. I'm just saying that this little nugget is really, in his opinion, because he's a godly man, he's like, this is where it all, this is the root of your life.
But that's not fair to say to women in a room that some of them don't want kids. That every woman in that room didn't want kids.
But he's giving them,
maybe they don't want to get married.
Right, and the dynamic of your life, I'm telling you from experience. She can tell you you can tell me from experience. You can tell from experience. The dynamic of your life changes as soon as the slap on the ass and the crying starts. And there is a time when you have to go, is this job worth it, or should I be at home taking care of this kid? And all that kicker was doing was giving that woman a license to put in her brain a gift. When you are ready to make a life for your family, don't look at this as a bad thing. This is a good thing. Don't take anything that you've done for granted. Congratulations on your degree. Go be the best graphic designer you can be. But there's another part of your life that's coming up.
No, not for everyone. Look, I knew I wanted to be a mom since I was 4 years old, but there are tons and tons of women out there who don't want kids and who want to shatter glass ceilings. And we need those women. We need those women to keep working and keep fighting for us.
Isn't there a part of nature which is unnatural that started maybe back in the early 1920s with the suffragette? And I'm not going to go through history here, but isn't there a part that we blew up the matriarch and the patriarch way of thinking?
Yes, because women finally stopped taking all y'all's shit.
Heather says, I wish more moms could stay at home, guys, with kids. I think the world would be a better place, but come on, it's not realistic. Most now.
Well, especially it's not. Well, you have to make a lot of sacrifices.
It's hard.
A lot of sacrifices for you to stay home. And the thing that the people that are forgetting truly is who the audience was. If you said this at Mizzou, I get the vitriol.
Right.
I really
absolutely,
do. I get the vitriol. I really do. But this is a very niche college that is very old school.
But I just showed you someone in the audience.
But that was one of very few.
There's a stand. That would be like going to U2 concert and someone going, I can't believe they didn't do Joshua.
And she maybe should. And she would be pissed if she heard me say that. Maybe she should have gone to Mizzou instead of Benedictine. I've got several friends' kids that went there and they love it. And they
boy, that's interesting. And you know what? But this is interesting how we're all over the place. I have no problem with what that girl said that we just heard from Kelly.
Me neither.
And I love Butker and I love his message. Yeah. Outside of the fact that I wish he would have cited the data, because I could totally see, but I have no problem with her saying that.
But imagine that's your daughter. Imagine that's your daughter. And you watched her work her ass off. And so for her graduation, she got sat there and told that her life will begin when she becomes a mommy. And it is disrespectful because there are women who don't want kids. And we need to start realizing that they are not a wasted part of society just because they don't want kids.
I know 2 female pilots for the airlines that are never going to get married and they're going to have a great life.
You just said when you slap the baby's ass, that's when your life begins.
Hold on, Kelly.
Not for everyone.
Hold on, Kelly. I think that if you were to look at the aggregate, at the 30,000 foot level, most women want a white dress for a wedding and they look forward to that. And a lot of those women want that 4 kids, 3 kids, whatever it is, and that is ingrained in their brain. And it's natural.
Yes. But
And
it
it's
should be a
beautiful.
choice.
It's beautiful.
It should be her choice to do that.
Not
Okay.
forced
It
on you
should
in a
be-
graduation.
It should be her
Right.
choice
Yes.
to have 4 kids.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. When you get to that part of the day when you slap the kid on the ass, you're not in looking for CEO, CFO jobs anymore. You're now a mom. It's another job.
I only really disagree with Kelly on one thing.
What's that?
Her calling America chauvinistic because now Harrison
Wait a
Butler's
minute.
jersey is number one of.
Well,
it's not just men buying that jersey; women are buying that jersey.
And he's not making girls do anything. I think he
No.
just. I mean, and how do you write a speech like that? Catering to everybody's situation, you don't.
When you
I see it like he is catering to everyone's situation. He's not just saying that maybe to women, but maybe also to guys. Look, going and trying to start $1 million company might not be as important to you when you have a child or a kid or a family or whatever, right? It's a license to us all. There's bigger things in life than getting as much money as you can.
I love the idea of a traditional family. I'll say that again. I have nothing.
You've made that clear.
There's nothing.
You stayed
wrong.
home with your kids.
Yes, I have no problem with his message.
Yeah.
I have his problem of him excluding and targeting women who don't want that, because we fought so hard to have a choice. It should be a choice if the woman wants to stay at home or go to work.
Did you hear anywhere in the message? Did you hear?
She shouldn't be told.
Did you hear anywhere in the message? Now, ladies, that whatever degree you have, roll it up and put it in a drawer somewhere, because it's time for you to learn how to be a mom.
That is pretty much exactly what he said.
That's not what he said.
That's exactly what he
He said, congratulations on your degrees.
Oh, for shit's sake. If you listen to the whole thing is your graduation. He was supposed to stand there and give some motivational speech about,
What if a woman came up and gave a speech at a commencement ceremony and she said, men, it's time to not run away from your families. It's time for you to grow up and be men. Would that be kind of the same thing? Would it be like
that would have been well received?
Would it be no
by women?
No, like what if he got up there and
I'm
said,
asking a legitimate question. It is time for you to take responsibility for these kids that you're running away from.
That's not the same thing. It would be the same thing if he got up there and told all the boys, hey, guess what?
No, her.
Vic.
She.
No.
A female was to tell a room full
female
of
gets up and I
graduates.
say to Vic, who's in the graduating class, look, I know you just studied your ass off and you've got all these student loans, but guess what? Your life is not going to start until you get married and find a wonderful wife to spend all your days with.
Mhm.
That's when your life will begin. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I gotcha. From the chat line,
And I'm just playing devil's
Connie says, Eric, you're right. Kelly's wrong. Donna says,
no.
says Kelly's right. She's a great mom and a great woman, in my opinion.
I would like to shout out to my mom, actually, because she's the one that raised me.
How dare you?
Not to deal with this kind of horse shit. And I have sat both my daughters down and I have showed them this speech and I've explained to them why it's horse shit and how if we ever go back to a time where men are telling women what to do, it's a lost cause.
Well, it's interesting too. The NFL came out and disassociated themselves from Harrison.
Sure did.
They said that's his own deal. We're about inclusion. We have nothing to do with what he said. We don't like what he said. Then Missouri. Then here's what happened though. The other night, the city of Kansas City on their Twitter account put his address out.
I saw that.
And then they deleted
and then they took it down.
I think that's hilarious because
It's hilarious, but it's bad.
But here's the thing. Addresses are not hard to find. I can find anyone's address.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we'll find some people.
I
There
found
we go.
Stan Kroenke's home address and sent
Oh, that's
shit
right.
to him. In
You
the
did
mail.
the best thing ever.
I can find anyone in the mail. And one
But-
last thing that I just want to say about him is that it wasn't just what he said. It was his entire speech, the way he spoke down to women. And if you're a woman, you're used to this, the mansplaining. He referred to Taylor Swift, a billionaire with a B, as his teammate's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She has a name. It's Taylor Swift.
And it would have been top of the news if he would have mentioned her name during his speech.
But he did. He quoted her song. So he did mention
He's
her.
just using his
He just
life
didn't-
experiences.
Okay, well,
that's
Taylor,
highly unique that your girlfriend of your tight end is Taylor Swift.
Well,
that's
Taylor's-
pretty unique.
It is really. I mean, it's,
Come on.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend's teammate is an asshole.
He's not though.
No, he is.
I would love for you two to talk to each other. I wonder if he could get on your show. I mean, literally on the Kelly Manno show.
It makes me want to puke what he said.
But is there a
I think-
way that he could say something that would make you not want to puke?
Yeah, I am okay with like 70 to 80% of his speech. It was just when he went in on the
But he's
women.
like one of the best guys in all the NFL.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how good you pretend that you are. I know so many men who put on a good face and they are pieces of shit behind
Yeah,
the
but
scenes.
he's a godly dude. I understand your point with
You
him about
can
what
be
he
a
said.
godly dude and still be an asshole.
I don't know.
Yes, you
You
can.
could be a
I think
fake
it's-
godly dude.
It is a healthy message to me to know that there is a family structure there's a country on the planet that has a family
I love
structure.
that message. I was
that there's
fine with that
there's
message.
there's a morality base.
Yes.
That we all subscribe to. I think
Well, and I think our country has lost the morality.
I feel like Europe is losing that morality base
Yes,
thing.
and it's here
China
now.
doesn't have the morality base
Correct.
thing. And we are the last kind of country, South America to a certain extent, that has this morality of hierarchy. It's
Right.
and the hierarchy is not patriarch, matriarch. The hierarchy of a family is patriarch, matriarch. It is the same thing.
Hey, Kelly, do you
Yes, it is.
Donna says, did he say give up your career and raise your children? Is that what you think he was saying? And this wasn't somebody who was disagreeing or
question.
agreeing. They're just
He-
asking.
He was saying, I know that you worked so hard on this degree, but thinking that this degree is going to make you happy in life is a diabolical lie. And you won't be happy in life until you're a mommy
Yeah,
and wife.
no.
That is exactly
No.
Eric, you need to listen to it
I
again.
do need to listen to it again or get a
Because,
transcript.
again,
or
I
something.
love the idea of a traditional family. I love that Lizzie was able to do that. And I want to bring back toxic masculinity. I'm down with it. All right. I don't want women to have to do everything anymore. But what I do want is for women to continue to have a choice and not be told what to do.
I don't think we're ever going to go back to a point
Yeah,
where
I
it's
think
like
I think we need a choice.
I think,
still.
but I think what it is like we are giving you a blueprint. If I don't know how to put IKEA furniture together. I need a blueprint on how to get it together. I'll call you up one day. But if it's like if you do it on your own, there's a good chance that this particle board is going to end up in pieces. A blueprint is just like you want to be happy. You want to know the secret of life. A lot of people on this planet believe that's the secret of life. Is that procreating, having a family, and living there. I cannot tell you, most people that have 9 kids are the happiest people on the planet.
You think?
I have several friends.
Are you
I have
kidding
several
me?
friends, and they love the lifestyle. They
Oh.
love the life.
Yeah, and then it
And
all
I'm like,
breaks
I'm the
down
same
on,
as you.
And then
I'm like, how do you do this? This is nuts. This is dumb.
you guys cannot take what people present to you as face value.
Not all the time.
We saw that shit with the
But-
Duggars. They all broke down. They're all perverts, and like it. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. But when you have a man saying,
Yeah.
Sorry. The Duggars.
"Yeah, look at all these families that pretend."
Oh my God.
A lot of me is
No
playing devil's,
families.
a lot of me is playing devil's advocate
like-
because
Right.
I toured. I was not looking for white picket anything. I was looking for where's the coolest little condo.
You were
I can
looking for
rent.
white lingerie.
So
Well,
Jimmy's,
no.
Jimmy's mom had 9 kids. All right, she had 9
Yeah.
kids, and Jimmy was her last one.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate enough to hang out with her in her end years.
This is
That
awesome.
woman was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
And she was so sick of her husband's shit. You know, like it just you make it seem like it's roses and sunshine to be this stay-at-home mom, and you're at the
For
same
the
minute-
kids. What about for the kids? Have you ever thought about it from their
What
angle?
about for the woman? You can be there for their kids and still have your own identity and get a job and have hobbies. And do
Nobody
the
said you
things.
couldn't do that.
But no, you do. You get sucked into it. And then suddenly you've been married for 20 years to a guy named Harrison Butker, and your kids are gone and grown, and you have no life skills because all you did was wipe butts your whole life.
Yeah.
We have to give women the option, and the fact that he gave this speech and then everyone runs out and buys his jersey tells me everything that I need to know.
That's no.
Yeah.
But that's women though too.
Yeah. Oh,
But they deserve their own thought
yeah,
process.
because
as
women
well.
haven't been. There's women out there still that have not been.
Just
told.
think it. Yeah,
You're
he's
saying
married.
That all these women that are out there buying his jersey right now are not enlightened.
No, I don't know if women are buying his jerseys. We don't know that.
Yeah, is it women or
We
is
don't
it
have the
men? Is there
stats.
any? Is there?
No,
any,
we have no idea.
I'm sure there's women out there buying it too, because I know there's women that
Yes,
respect
I've
his
seen it.
opinion on this as well.
Yeah. Good for them. Like that's fine. They can live however they want, but they shouldn't be told.
I guess you're right.
They
But
shouldn't
in
be
a, in a-
told.
Just a commencement.
in a commencement speech. But you know what? Here's the deal. You hear a commencement speech from people like Hillary. I know it's political, but you hear the left does their commencement speech, and it's all about the opposite of this. It's about kind of getting morality out of the equation altogether. It's a lot about women's choice, and it's the opposite of this. Where that is kind of that's not a controversial commencement speech anymore. This is. Yeah. And this is like morality goodness. And that is kind of like, let's go kill some kids.
Men have never had their rights taken away. So I don't expect a man to understand.
They haven't?
No.
Oh,
no.
Lord have mercy.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Were men not allowed to drive? Are they not allowed to vote?
25 years ago, one of my friends lost 2 fire chief jobs because of
he wasn't a woman.
What is it?
DEI.
DEI kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having your rights taken away. Your right
every
to drive,
single day.
Your right to vote, your right, but no, you still
Every
have
single
rights.
day.
Who bases their life choices on the commencement speech at their graduation?
Well, if you do, let me say
Good
this.
point.
My son or my daughter just
Good point.
graduated last Friday, and it was at UMSL, and it was the most awful speech. We'd all be dead.
Now, what was that about?
It was basically that if you didn't have a college degree, you were going to die 7 years earlier. I mean, the whole thing
that's awful.
It was awful. It was all about like, well, if you don't have a degree from UMSL or a degree anywhere, then you're not going to have as good of a life. You're going to die 7 years earlier. This or that. And you can see all of my kids who even have a degree are going,
there's people who can't afford college.
That too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I did want to get this out.
commencement
It became such a big story that Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey also got involved and sent a warning letter to the Kansas City mayor about the tweet that was sent out with Harrison Butker's address stating it has been reported that the city of Kansas City has retaliated against a well-respected local resident. Your office's X account likely publicly released residential location information on a private citizen in an attempt to retaliate against him for expressing his sincere held religious beliefs at a religious college's commencement ceremony. He goes on to say, it will not be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. We are now watching.
And I agree. I don't think that Harrison Butker should be doxxed. I don't think he should be fired. I don't think the only thing that he has to do is be responsible for what came out of his mouth. But no, I don't think he should be canceled or lose his job or any of that shit. Like, absolutely not. No, he can go on living his life. I just have a problem with whatever comes out of your mouth, you are going to have to defend. And it's hard being a woman sometimes. It's really, really hard. And especially a woman who's constantly wanting to compete with men. It's just,
you're beating the crap out of men.
Yeah, I eat that shit for breakfast.
You're beating the garbage snot out of them. I see you all the time. It's a matter of fact,
if you met Harrison Butker,
yeah,
I promise you would not think he's an asshole.
Oh, I promise I would.
No, you would.
Well, he'd think I was a bitch. So how about that?
What if he had an opportunity to kind of say, this is what I meant?
No.
I know what he meant.
But you're not a bitch. And that's, no. It was.
Yeah, people that say they're a bitch are not a bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's typically true.
I'll just say it takes a very strong guy to be with a strong woman. So I admire strong guys. I admire strong, confident guys. That's not one.
Even a patriarch of the highest nature is going to be, honey, what do you want to do in life? That's the question they're going to have. And that's the strongest question. And if the wife is like, I'm kind of sick of work and I want to take care of the family, you have a license to do that also.
Not if you're Harrison Butker's wife. You don't have a license to do that.
She made that choice.
No.
Maybe she loves that.
You're saying that as a woman, you should be able to change your mind and decide you want to go to work.
What I'm saying
if
is
you
this.
marry Harrison Butker, you're not doing that.
What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this: is if you are with a man, maybe you're with a woman. Who knows what your dynamic is? But the person you're with, there's always an alpha and a beta in a relationship.
Sure.
Otherwise, there's no relationship.
Sure.
In my opinion. But if they're a strong person, here's the question: what would you like to do in your life? And you look at them and you listen. And if they say, I don't know, then you have to take that into consideration as well. There are all kinds of dynamics in weird relationships. My brother tried to put together the white picket fence relationship, and it failed miserably.
Well, there could have been
miserably.
other factors as well. I mean, Megan says, once again, freedom of speech. People are entitled to their opinions. We're not going to agree on everything, which is why the topic is great to talk about.
I like it because I think the nuclear family is one of the greatest things that ever happened to modern civilization.
I agree.
And there's somebody on Rumble with a good point that men might not have ever had the right to vote taken away from them, but they did fight in wars and die in wars.
We weren't allowed to fight in the wars. Like,
yes, you were.
No, not back then.
World War II, you guys invented the industrial complex by building all those airplanes.
No, we
tanks.
Okay, if you guys
They were at home. They weren't on the battle line.
you guys are going to
battlefield.
sit here and argue that women did
You're the
not
one that
have
mentioned that
less
men-
rights than men, like that's like the
Men
sky
didn't
is
get-
blue.
It wasn't cherries and
I'm not saying it's cherries. I'm saying men have never had their rights taken away. So as women,
Not like women.
no, we have to be vigilant and not letting the pendulum swing back the other way is all I'm saying. And
Oh, I
letting
agree.
this guy talk like this.
But his idea of the pendulum is not the pendulum isn't. We don't want it to go the other way. We're like, let's continue it forward and have everybody have these. I love your story. Your testimony is exactly the kind of stuff I would want to hear on TikTok. It's like, look, I tried to be the CEO, high badass bitch, and all of a sudden I went what most women would consider backwards. I go, I don't consider that.
Yeah,
going
it wasn't backwards. It was for my own mental health
was
and my
forward.
own children's well-being.
Yeah.
And it was her choice.
And it was
It's
my
her choice.
Her
Yeah.
husband wasn't telling her what she had to do, which is what Harrison Butker is doing. So
I don't think David told you to do it, did he?
No, I
You
didn't
told
give
him, I'm doing it.
I didn't give him a voice. We met at 15, married at 22. I was going to be this badass working woman and make this empire of childcare centers and did all that. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm exhausted.
But you know what? There's another point to it too, because I feel it from myself, and I felt it when I was married. One of the reasons my the ex and I ended up getting divorced, we never saw each other. We were both having to work.
Yeah, that's
and I
hard.
was chasing a career.
Yep.
Where at the beginning you don't make much money, but at the end it can repay you unfair on the positive side.
Right.
And and she had to work, and I felt guilty that I couldn't do that. And starting this business, I'm not in a situation where if I wanted to ask Megan to marry me, where I could do that, she'd have to still bust her ass because
you can't
I can't provide.
That's a
where
stressful life.
And that's the other side from a male standpoint as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love when women stay home and take care of their kids. That's what I did. But it's hard because you can't pay the bills. It's like either way you look at it, you're going to lose something. You're either going to lose time with your kids or you're going to lose money to make memories with your kids. It's hard enough being a woman. I just don't like being told what to do or being told when my life is going to begin, because there are women out there who can't have kids, who don't want kids, that should not have to sit in a graduation ceremony and be told your life is not going to begin until you became a mommy and you can't have kids. There's something physically wrong.
I just didn't hear that. I just said, I thought, and again, I don't ever look at the micro of anything.
He went on and on about how surrogacy and IVF.
Donna says he was telling women what he thought they should be doing.
I don't want a man telling me what he thinks I should be doing.
Yeah.
It's not his business. Unless he's my husband, then it's a 50-50 partnership and we decide together. But under no circumstances should a man be given free reign to tell women what to do or what will make them happy.
I tell you what, you have an interesting situation.
Mhm.
I don't know what your financial situation is, but with 40 billion people following you,
That's right.
you
She
could
can do what
literally,
she can do what she wants
you
to.
could have an interesting conversation at, at Buffalo Wild Wings with your beau and say, look, I make a lot more money than you, and the house kind of needs fixing up, and how would you like to just stay at home and just do nothing, and I'll pay for everything. So that's an interesting conversation as well, right? Now Bronny would have to be like,
there's an idea,
right? Bronny would have to be like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, there are some men that stay home and raise their kids because their wives make more money. That kind of stuff will make Harrison Butker cry in the fetal position for an hour.
No, I don't think it would.
Yeah, you tell him that there are stay-at-home.
Now,
husbands.
I do know for a fact, and I can't speak for everyone, but the research and the studies show that children are way more emotionally attached to their moms up
Of
until
course.
up until a certain age, that they are not emotionally attached to the father the same way. And there's so many dynamics that we don't talk about as human beings in these weird situations.
Yeah.
The children are looking at the mom to provide sustenance.
Yeah.
Period. They are looking to receive love from said mom. They look at the father in a different way than they look at the mom. Now, this is part of the conversation that we're not having here. That is the godly moral part of all of this that we're just not talking about. And I don't have the answers to it. And I don't want any woman to not be happy because she can't go take a job being the CEO of Purina. But at the same time, you also have another choice if you want to do that as well. I would be like, we are in that era, Kelly, where we did try this feminism thing since the 60s. And you have to ask yourself, did it work?
From the chat line, he got a standing ovation.
Yeah, no, he absolutely did.
Hey, by the way, while you're talking about, while you finish up the subject, is your Alice in Chains video on TikTok? Is that the one about Gen X wanting to cancel?
Yeah, Gen X wants to cancel Metallica.
Okay, is that the one? Because I want to show it before
That's
we get
it.
out of here. Okay,
That's it.
I'll send it to Joe.
It's kind of long. It's like a minute
Eric, that
and a
was
half
good
long.
though.
No, it's just we talk about these super complex. It doesn't sound complex. A man telling a woman that being a mom is cool.
Not that it's cool. That's when her life begins.
But there is also so much gray area in that statement that you could go and tweezer out every little point and have a debate about it, and then at the end you go, all right, I see what he's saying. And I have been very pissed off at the people that have had kids and they run away from the mom. I'm so freaking pissed off about men that have the kids that say, I'm out, have a good life.
Yeah.
That's another component of this that we
big
don't even talk
component.
about.
Yeah.
And we're talking about saving a country right now from DOJ and from immigration and all this stuff. Well, this is another thing that you need to talk about. Because I tell you what, one of my favorite TV shows is in the morning on his old station, Fox 2. It's the crime reports.
Oh
How
my
many
God.
people got shot today in North St. Louis? I'm like, really?
And
why is that?
We can move on. The only thing that I want to say in closing
Yes.
is that to the women out there
Yes.
who don't want or cannot have kids, your life is not over because you're not going to do
No
that.
doubt about it.
And that is exactly what he said, that your life does not begin until you become a wife and a mommy. And there are women out there who don't want that in their lives, and that is okay for you to have and do.
I love it. That was good. Some of my best friends.
Now you're
going
going
to
to get real pissed off when you hear this
Okay.
girl.
Kelly, can you set this up? Joe, I just sent it to Joe before we get out of here. I know we've gone over time. If anybody needs to leave, do whatever. I get it. Is the judge all right? I saw the judge hovering around outside.
He forgot his cup.
Oh, okay.
I saw him come
I didn't know if
back.
you heard us talking about more weed.
We should have had him in here.
So the Gen Zers these days, they really, really romanticize Kurt Cobain. Okay, like he is there.
Really?
Oh my God, they think
Why?
Because
why would that Skid Row?
Because he's right. And for those of us who grew up in Gen X, Nirvana was super popular, and we know that
They killed the music scene. Go ahead.
right. So, but these young kids romanticize Kurt Cobain. And so this girl found some old footage of James Hetfield and the Alice in Chains guy or whatever saying
Lane Staley.
negative things about Kurt Cobain. So she's sticking up for Kurt Cobain, and she wants to know why we didn't.
Who
cancel
Lane
it.
Staley was sticking up for Kurt Cobain?
Here, you can watch her.
All right, I'll watch.
Okay.
Go ahead, Reckless.
I want to know why the Generation X generation did not cancel Metallica and Megadeth when Dave Mustaine had something nasty to say about Kurt Cobain dying. I want to know why. I want to know why y'all didn't cancel Metallica. Because James Hetfield, that stupid son of a fucking bitch, I got some nasty shit to say about Kurt Cobain and Lance Staley from Alice in Chains. In case y'all didn't fucking know, look it up.
Oh my.
Because I'm proud of my generation and Generation Z and Generation Alpha, because we cancel motherfuckers. We cancel motherfuckers, motherfucker!
Look at this hair. Does it look like I was prepared to make a video today? Because I wasn't. But then I heard about this video, stopped everything, because this is a code red fucking emergency. I need to talk to the girl who made that video. I have one thing to say to you.
This is good.
There is still time to take it down. I am a proud card-carrying member of Generation X. I was like a Debbie Gibson Generation X, okay? I'm like medium mean. The people you're fucking with, the people you are poking, those are the metalheads from Gen X. I was a cheerleader. Those are the burnouts that kicked our ass in high school. You don't want to fuck with them. They only got meaner. They're going to eat you for breakfast. They are going to make replies to that video that will put you in therapy for a decade. There's no safe places on the internet. This is going to get ugly. It's going to get really ugly. Did you not learn anything from Beanie Boy? You in trouble, girl. You to please.
You in trouble, girl. This is good stuff.
I was trying to warn her, and she took her video down.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
She did.
I think she deleted her entire account. I can't find it.
Because of you?
Yes, because
Get me her on the phone. I need to talk to her now.
Excuse me, not because of me. She did the action. I just called her out on it. Usually when I put somebody in my videos, I try to touch base with them and be like, hey, just so you know, this is all in good fun, but her account's gone. But I mean, you can't get on the internet and say shit like that, you know?
So what is the question at
stuff.
hand? Because these guys on some MTV show kind of slammed Kurt Cobain.
It was at a concert, I think.
Really?
Metallica made a joke on stage about something about
Those guys. That's how it was.
Was it Dave Mustaine or was it James Hetfield? I couldn't get
I
that.
think there are two different points. One of them made a joke on stage about him blowing his head off, and then one, I don't know what the other one said, but like,
I'm sure it was in bad taste. I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah, it was
metalheads.
like-
I mean, yeah.
it was like one eye blew this way and one eye blew that way, or like, or something like, yeah. I mean, it was definitely bad, but again, it's Gen X. So
I remember there was the whole thing when was it Vince Neil was trying to beat up Axl Rose all the time. Remember that?
God.
They hated each other.
The whole music scene hated each other.
I always thought that
back
had to
then.
be over a woman. It
Huh?
had to be over a woman.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's because I think Axl called him fat or something like that.
Oh.
But I mean, it backs and Tommy Lee wanted to beat up Kid Rock or something crazy.
Oh,
like
that would be the ultimate white trash
yeah,
circus.
yeah. But that's
Like-
how it was. It was the
That was
age-
over a woman.
It was the age of decadence. It was decadence meets grunge, and when those two came together, they just did not like each other one bit.
Nope.
And
Nope.
now everything is so politically correct. It's disgusting and
Yeah.
horrible.
And that's what she's saying is that we should have canceled Metallica and canceled Alice in Chains.
How do you? It's like, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm throwing away my Metallica record. No,
Yeah,
that's
what were
not
we
a-
gonna do? We didn't have the internet. We
Yeah,
couldn't
she was
protest.
she was drugged. That woman's
No, she's
drugged.
not. She's
No.
serious.
She makes all kinds of videos like that.
Yeah, she looks serious to me. I don't think she was drugged. She might have been drugged.
Well, she used to until you canceled her.
Yeah, she can't.
I mean that, and so she made way worse videos than that. She
You helped her.
hates-
You did her a favor.
She hates Gen X, and so all of her videos
go.
So I tried to pull one that I could be funny about, and because I don't like.
I'm getting pissed for you. Did you know that?
Yeah,
I
for what?
sent you a couple of things. I sent you people who are blatantly taking not your script.
Oh.
They're blatantly taking her copy. Like
Yeah.
I've seen now 3 people say, when we were kids, we used to
Yeah.
drink out of the garden hose. I go, mother F.
Yeah,
That
they're like
is-
stealing
that is
Kelly's
plagiarizing Kelly to a T.
It's not plagiarizing because
It
all
is.
did it, but when
slanderizing,
people are taking my T-shirts that I make, the Gen
Yes.
X shit.shop, and they are literally replicating them and then selling them on their own.
Well, I don't like that.
No, it's
And I'm getting mad, and I keep sending, and I've sent you like 2 now. I'm like,
Yeah,
I've seen another one. Here we
I've
go.
seen them, and then also like if you just go on TikTok and you type in Kelly Manno, there's about 40 accounts. So
Yeah.
39.
And a lot of them
fake.
are not-
This might
Yeah,
be
like 39 impersonation
a,
accounts.
might be a little late, but I think I got the video of Metallica talking.
Yeah, let's
about
see
Let's
that.
see it.
What'd you
Let's
got?
see it.
Yes, get some.
Oh, maybe they're making fun of Lance Daly.
Who is that band? I can't tell.
That's Metallica.
Anyway, I didn't know Jason wrote that one. Fuck, he's cooler than we all thought, everyone. But this here is
This might not be it. I don't know. It's a lot. It's
Well, that's Judas Priest.
right.
Why did you throw that at me? I have a question. Why did you throw that at me?
Never mind. I don't.
Why
think
did
this
you
is
throw
it.
that at
Right.
me?
Yeah, James Hetfield a bit.
Yeah, we went back in our day. We were slamming everybody. It was trash talk all the time on stage.
Yeah, and it was 4 days after his suicide, so it was maybe in a little bit of bad taste.
Very
However,
much bad.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not
Pretty
good.
bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
God, what a show. I'm glad we could all end on something we agreed on. That was
Right?
cool.
And it's
God.
okay to disagree. It's good.
100%.
Yeah, it's totally great to disagree.
Did you have this
I like
conversation with your boy? So what do you think? Do you think I should just settle down and take care of the house? And he went, oh, hell no,
shit.
love.
Here
I
we
think
go.
you should go out and do anything you want.
Again, it takes a strong man to date a strong woman.
Did
So,
he say anything? Did he go, yeah, I can see his point. That's cool.
I didn't really talk about it with him, I don't think. I mean, he knew I was coming on here today and I had my work cut out for me. But no, like he doesn't need my opinion on shit. Like it's not.
No, but would you be offended if he goes, yeah, he's a great kicker, and I can see what he's saying? Would you be like,
I would argue with him the same way I just argued with y'all.
yeah. But if he's smart and we don't know that he is, he'd be like, babe, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Pick and choose his battles.
Yeah.
Pick and choose. That's the whole thing is pick and choose your battles, people.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's the old one.
Yeah.
It's like a smart man
Mhm.
says he's sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even when
He doesn't.
he
what
doubts
did.
whether he's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart man also says they're sorry.
Yes.
When he thinks that he is right, you still do. Even when he knows when he knows he's right, you still apologize.
Tell that to my husband. My husband
Yeah, I
does
don't-
not
no,
apologize. My
that's
husband
not
does
everybody.
not
I've
apologize.
learned. No, it took me a long time.
Or say
to
he's
get to
sorry
that
if he
point.
thinks he's
Man,
wrong.
I'll tell you what.
No, I've gotten to that point.
Here's
No way.
It took me a long time.
here's some words of wisdom. The
Here we
best
go.
thing you can do.
And then we'll close out the show with ads.
The best thing you can do, like Vic just said, just say you're sorry, even if you don't even know why you're in trouble.
Okay, if you're a woman, please God, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't ever apologize for something you are not sorry for.
Damn! I was
Ever.
going both ways.
Ever.
That was gender non-specific advice.
Ever.
Just say I'm sorry.
Women, look at me. Don't ever apologize for something you're not sorry for. Ever. Ever.
Don't look at me.
Women have been
look at-
apologizing our whole
now-
lives.
now-
By the way,
now look
did the
at me.
Backstreet Boys really trash talk Boys to Men a lot?
What?
That just came from the chat line.
No.
The Backstreet Boys were always trash talking Boys to Men.
No.
I think that's true. I think that's totally true.
Why would they trash talk Boys to Men? Boys to Men are legends and like
I don't know.
Boys to Men are legends
Oh
over
my
Backstreet
God.
Boys.
Yes.
I like
Oh,
them
what
both.
universe am I living in here? I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Boys to Men are just raw talent with their voices. And the Backstreet Boys, who I love, is a show and it's matching outfits and we're dancing and being like, but Boys to Men, the
Good breakdown.
talent in that group is just insane.
Yeah.
And they've still got it. They're so good.
And before we leave, we've got to show, especially for you, Eric, you're going to have hope in St. Louis now. There's a police officer.
Oh shit, I
video.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we've
Sorry.
got to show it. We've got to show because we all treat us trash, St. Louis.
Eric
City
just wants
all
to
the
talk about
time.
St. Louis crime.
But that's
Go.
why this is for you, Eric.
Thank you, Lizzie.
All right.
This is for you.
This
Eric.
happened the other night.
Uh-huh.
This was the St. Louis.
Metropolitan.
It's his second. It's his second job late in the night. He was working at a lounge. He was asked to go in, and then this guy wouldn't leave, so they finally had to get him out. And look what he does.
I got a lighter, bro.
He's lighting a stogie while he's straddling.
Pull your
the
light out.
crosswalk.
No, don't pull it out. They might think you gotta go. You gonna pull that nightstick out.
There it is.
Don't move.
That is gangster.
Put that man hat on, bro. At least.
Isn't it? I thought
At
you
least
would
I
know
can
that.
do.
St. Louis Metropolitan.
I got a
PD
lighter,
at its finest.
Pay police more.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that great?
I saw stuff all over X, Twitter, people offering them the best cigars ever.
Yeah.
I think that
What's
is-
your address? We're gonna send you
I
cigars.
have no problem with that.
I
Because
didn't
the guy
either.
was a jackass. The suspect
Oh, he was so
was
mean
starting
to the
trouble in
police
the
officer.
starting trouble all over the club, and he wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
like,
that's Winty's Roadhouse this weekend.
Uh-huh.
Megan.
Wait, is the Roadhouse opening this weekend?
Friends and family Saturday. We're gonna be there.
Oh,
Huge, big
I
deal.
wish I could go.
I know.
Yeah, you guys are at Helen's, right?
Yeah, so at Helen's up, but I'll be there in spirit. Are you going?
I mean, I didn't realize this. I kind of plans on Saturday, but tell me all about it. Maybe I can swing by.
Yep, we will. By the way, check out our advertisers, Complete Auto Body Care, Complete Auto Body Care. We are great, CompleteAB.com. Also, if you've been in an accident, before you make a call or sign with somebody, go with David Gregory. Go with David Gregory, St. Louis Injury Council. His phone number 314-619-4230. I went with him and he got me a ton more money when I got hit. Blew my freaking mind.
Nice.
He's a tax guy. He's an auditor too. He wrote some of the rules in Missouri.
Okay.
Duh, you go with that guy. Or if you know somebody, you'll be super happy. And WeQuipUSA.com, WeQuipUSA.com. You can rent items. Kelly's tried to do that too there.
You
We're
can rent
grateful for that.
anything from them. Anything.
And of course, Winty's, Chesterfield Valley, and they open up in Wine Country Defiance this weekend. Pretty much everybody, I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, that listens to the show, your friends and family.
Yep.
So
I'm
Saturday's the
saying
Friends
that.
and Family Day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you can go.
I need directions. It's down in Defiance, right?
Right at it's at the main point of Defiance on the main strip.
What time does the friends and family thing start? Is it all day?
3.
Okay.
3.
I
think
could
it's
probably
3.
stop by.
Yeah. So anyway, we're grateful for everybody jumping in. Canceltheshow.com for Judge Matthew Thornhill and his Elvis stuff. And we had some really cool court stories. That stuff is pretty fun.
That was pretty fun.
I'll have to go back and listen. I caught some.
Bubba, the one-legged parrot. You got to listen to that.
Pro Joe, great job, Pro Joe. Kelly Manno, Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks, Vic Faust, our Free for All Friday edition. Kelly, we are grateful for you coming in. Eric, thank you so much.
Yes.
Wish we could do it every single day. That'd be fun.
Oh no, it'd be the best.
It really would.
Are you serious?
Oh, if some
well, why don't you get some big? You know everybody.
Because I already have 19 jobs. Like
We could do it every day, and you could have more of the money.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Oh.
I don't need money. I need more time.
Well, then we'll produce it all.
Okay.
You can just show up.
All right.
You can do it in my bedroom.
We just we need your name,
Yeah,
your
just go into
personality, and
Eric's
your money.
bedroom.
Okay. Sugar mama. I'll
Next
be your
show.
sugar mama.
Hey, I'll be the
Eric's
stay. I'll be the
bedroom.
You
stay.
can be the stay-at-home
I'll
dad.
be the stay-at-home producer.
And I'll be the sugar mama boss.
What if I just put a bunch of broadcast mics around my bed and you guys woke me up at 7 in the morning?
Okay, let's
As long as Christy's there.
yeah, let's do it.
That would be cool.
Give Christy
She
a
makes
mic.
great coffee.
Okay,
She makes
there
great
you go.
coffee.
We're in. We're
All
in.
right, I'm in.
Guys, thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show. Remember to promote us. We're grateful for our free speech. We have a donation button as well on the website. Have an awesome weekend. We'll catch up with you
Donuts.
Monday.
Let's go.